Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the virtual Dover International Speedway as we get all set to go for the Miles to Monster 150 live on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Northwest Cup Series action all set on the docket tonight. Justin Prince alongside Greg Wentz with Wesley Outland alongside with us as well. Will Duvall's in the director's seat for what should be an exciting 150 laps. It's Miles the Monster time, Greg. A difficult car and track combination tonight that can test all the drivers this evening, especially with the safer barrier all the way around the track.
Justin, the sensation of speed at Dover International Speedway is one unlike any other on the NASCAR circuit. These drivers are going to be flying around, so you hit the nail on the head. This is going to be a test unlike any other that these drivers face because they are going to feel like they are flying by the seat of their pants the entire 150 laps here tonight at this 1 mile concrete oval. And Justin, I'm looking forward to seeing this because we've got a big field in the house tonight.
Absolutely, a lot of drivers coming out tonight. In total, 26 currently in the drivers' meeting in progress. But last race, it was a tough one, mind you, too, because, Greg, it was the first race for some of these drivers with the new iRacing build with the Cup cars. And it was a tough one. Cloudy skies at Darlington, where everyone seemed to knock down the turn 2 exit wall.
Oh, yeah, turn 2 was definitely Calamity Corner last week at Darlington, Justin. We saw just about every driver in the field get themselves a Darlington stripe at some part of the race. And also, you got to factor in what happened with all the cautions and the non-cautions because of the way iRacing server works with Darlington. We saw several contenders hit the inside wall and do a lot of damage to their car, but no caution was thrown, so that ended the day for a lot of drivers. Then we had the interesting incident on lap 115 with the only instance of a red flag I can remember. You mentioned to us while we were at commercial that you'd seen it before, but that was definitely one of the more interesting things that's ever happened on iRacing.
It was a very bizarre, unique, and unbelievable story because, mind you, that was for Tidrick his first career victory in all of Northwest Racing Series competition in 25-plus starts. Now these drivers, though, have to start thinking about another thing, Greg, the playoffs. Remember, if you win a race and you're in the top part of the standings, the top 20 specifically, you're locked into the playoffs. And with that victory, it really shakes things up. That was the 7th different winner this campaign, Greg.
We've seen 2 surprise winners this season who get the win by virtue of a gamble. BJ Tidrick last week at Darlington, and then we can't forget Bruce Lee Weaver's upset win at Michigan earlier in the year. So those 2 wins, locking those drivers into the playoffs realistically. So it's going to be very interesting come playoff time to see how it all unfolds. And Justin, Seth Frazier, winner 2 weeks ago at Richmond, not in the field tonight in this one. So he's taking the night off, but he has 3 wins on the year. So Frazier, I believe, could afford to take the night off here tonight, but we'll see how that goes for him in the standings, as no doubt he's going to take a hit in those tonight.
That will be his first missed race of the season. Seth Frazier currently 6 total in points. To remind you again, the winners so far, Brightsman, Frazier, Dan West Jr., Jeff Stabnow, Corey Walters, Bruce Lee Weaver, and BJ Tidrick, all with victories tonight. Keep in mind, again, you have to make sure you have the total points necessary in the top half of the field to make it. Currently, the drivers on the postseason cut line include drivers such as Tidrick on the points, Scott Hutchinson, Gary Nichols around that range, as well as Bill Ross Jr. Now, let's talk about this track for tonight. Just moments away from the start of qualifying. It's a very difficult one that would challenge the drivers from head to toe. In your opinion, Greg, how would you drive this race tonight based on what you've seen with these Cup cars, especially with how they race here at Dover? And mind you, too, back to low downforce for the first time for some of these drivers as well.
Yeah, we're back to low downforce, so it's going to be kind of a game of chess, Justin. We're going to have some drivers who are going for it all out from the get-go, and then some drivers are going to kind of take the hang back and wait method. And honestly, at Dover, I think this is a track you got to be up on the wheel most of the way, as we have seen so much stuff happen here at Dover over the years. I think you're going to want to try to be in front of the mess if you can afford it. I think you want track position over anything tonight.
Now, as these drivers get ready for tonight's action, turn things over to Wesley Outland as we get all set to go for qualifying. Should be an exciting race on docket tonight.
No doubt about it. Miles, the Munster Dover Speedway always offers some craziness. The question is, will we see green flag runs be good? Will we see a caution-filled race? And, of course, who is going to be able to have the strategy coming on and off of pit road, making those crucial pit stops? I think they'll probably make 2 or 3 pit stops, at least in a premium, maybe more. It should be exciting to watch here at Dover. I'll cover all the action on the pits here on LSR TV tonight.
And that brings up the good question here, Wesley. Based on your experience, would you try and stretch it on the fuel, since it is a one-stop in the fuel gauge, or would you focus more on the tires tonight?
I think it just depends on how many caution flags per se we get in this race. Obviously, if you go in the mindset before we drop the green flag, maybe you want to try to set yourself up for one pit stop run for tires and fuel. But if we have a lot of cautions, I think drivers will take advantage with these teams of making more pit stops, and I think that will make things interesting.
Absolutely. By the way, update, Seth Frazier has now just made it in time, just about for qualifying. However, did miss the entirety of the race meeting. Just a few moments away from the start of qualifying, track conditions for the session have cloudy skies above, so keep that in mind with the current 106-degree Fahrenheit track temp, 75 degrees air temp, very windy, 7 miles an hour to the west, along with the northwest. So it's very gusty here tonight, Greg, as well as fairly hot, but also could be fairly different conditions and phases.
Yeah, definitely going to change up throughout the course of the day. And you mentioned the cloud cover right now. So if drivers were to take to the track now, then it would be opportunity for them to really get a good lap, because that cloud cover is cooling the track off, putting more grip in the track. Unfortunately, not sure if anyone's out on the track just yet. So it'll be very interesting to see how it goes.
Well, to answer that question, we have Carl Burke right on the racetrack right now. Ricky Bozer also came out, John Ottenbacher, Bruce Wee Weaver. So 4 drivers taking times. Again, 10 minutes to set their fastest time, 2 laps in total across the track. Now, keep in mind that one time up on top is from Garrett Huffines. And here's the thing. You aren't supposed to qualify during the driver's meeting. If you do, it's an automatic end of longest line penalty.
Yeah, Garrett Huffines was going to be making his debut in this series tonight. I don't think he was aware of that, as he has since retired from the session. He has put the car back on the trailer, so Garrett Huffines not aware of the rules, and unfortunately it's going to cost him, as he set out to try to make a lap and didn't realize he had to wait for the driver's meeting. So just like that, the 117 of Huffines done for the night from the looks of it. Ricky Bozer on top of the charts right now, the 22.891 of those drivers. Carl Burke coming around to complete his second lap. Quick time, 22.802 for the 53 of Carl Burke. And Justin, we've been talking about him over the last couple of weeks, both in the Cup Series and in the Truck Series. Carl Burke has really been turning some heads lately.
He's always been that type of person, in my opinion, though, on this service, based on how I've seen him race in various different events. He can win some races. It's just been the matter in official races to try and keep the car clean. That's why he's only in the 1700s in the IR regard. He's knocked off the top of the pylon, though, with a 22.8 flat, and even more so by a 22.656. It's Joshua Marcy, one of the storylines from Darlington, now on top.
Yeah, he was making his debut in the series last week at Darlington, and we were all wondering who in the heck this guy was and what he was doing on the top of the pylon at Darlington in his series debut. And yet here he is next week at Dover doing the same thing. 22.637. Justin, he just tied his lap in practice. By the way, that lap was good enough for third quick in practice. But wow, when's the last time you saw a driver absolutely tie his time from practice and qualifying?
About a couple weeks ago, to say the very least, but a different look, by the way. You see, this is O'Hare having a bit of a margarines look tonight. Nearly smacked the wall in his second lap, but still good enough currently provisionally P6. Look who jumped up to second though. Stephen Paulison with one of the strongest qualified starts he's had all season.
Great lap for Stephen Paulson and the Jim Beam Toyota. We'll see how it goes here on lap number 2, as that was his first lap. I believe that was one of the fastest first laps, and it's going to be the lap that counts as he hit the wall off of turn number 4. Last week's winner, BJ Titterick, just jumped to second on the chart to the 22.754. He's in turn 3 on his second lap, and Justin, he's riding some momentum right now because he was up well inside the top 10 in practice, and let's see if he can back it up here. He was faster than Marcy in practice, but no, a 22.723 is the final lap for Titterick. He'll be second on the charts right now with 14 cars that have gone so far.
Stabnow coming around for his second lap, and he's trying to come back from a race to forget from Dover. Several different incidents for the 24. Tonight, though, good track position, a fourth place run at the moment, a 22.749, his quickest time. As a driver, how do you bounce back from a rough performance such as that where you knock down everything and hit everything, including the pace car?
Oh, Stabnow hit everything but the lotto last week, so he's going to have to really bounce back. It was not a typical Jeff Stabnow race on Monday night, but you can ask Wesley. I would say Stabnow more than bounced back on Thursday with a dominant victory on Thursday at the same track in the Truck Series, winning by over 20 seconds over second place. So Jeff Stabnow, he's going to have to just get what happened on Monday out of his head, and I think that win on Thursday is going to help him with that, as you see him fourth right now, 22.749. Great job by Stabnow. 17 cars have taken time so far. Justin, Kevin Smith, who qualified up in the top 2 at Darlington last week, once again up there in the second spot right now, 22.659, one of 2 drivers to reach the 22.6 bracket.
Yeah. On the screen, you see Dan West Jr. He was the only driver in practice to be in the 5s. Was a 10th quicker than everybody. Rampton on the first lap. Second lap, 22.625. New pole sitter for the time being with 4 minutes left in the session.
18th driver to go, Dan West Jr., top of the boards. His son Devin has yet to take time, and Justin, he is on track right now in the number 5, coming to take the green flag. He just took it going into turn number 1 to start off his qualifying run, and Justin Devin was doing so good at Darlington last week. Looks so strong. He looks so strong every single week. He has 1 win in the series, the Northwest Truck Series at Homestead back in March. West still trying to get his first Cup Series win, the younger West in that case. He's looking to try to get a good start here. How about 4th on the first lap, 22.672, trying to knock Daddy off the pole.
And he's really loose on the second lap. Bit of contact with the wall and damage. That second lap may not count. We'll have to see at the stripe. Just grazed the right side of the car against the safer barrier. This time by the stripe. Will it count? It's a 23 flat. Did count, but isn't able to bump up towards where his dad was at. But one of the drivers who was quick throughout a majority of the session, Chris White, he's had a lot of momentum. He's coming around for the end of his second lap.
In turn 3 and 4 right now, 83 on the door. Let's see how he comes off of turn number 4. Good run off of 4. Quick time, 22.610. Chris White putting the Ford Mustang on the top right now with just a couple moments left in practice and a couple heavy hitters still to go out, but man, oh man.
Absolutely. Frazier, Hutchinson, Mann, Thurston, Walters, and Stuzzi have all yet to take time at the moment. None of those drivers have gone on the racetrack. And that brings up the conversation point of, do you want to be at the back in this type of race, or do you want to have the track position stay in front of potential trouble?
I've tried both here at Dover and ARCA racing, and I had better luck kind of just trying to dodge the wrecks in the back, but I've wanted to be up in front of them, Justin. I really thought being up in front of them was the way to be. Unfortunately, just didn't have the speed in qualifying, so if I could get up front and stay up there, that's what I would do in this position. So I gotta like the guys up here in the top 5, Chris White, Josh Marcy, the Wests, Kevin Smith, those guys. I gotta like where they're sitting right now.
About a minute or so until drivers will have the end of qualifying. As you can see, Dan West Jr. taking the time to put in some extra practice laps to make sure he's good to go. By the way, he was one of the most total laps turned in the session. Drivers have an hour and 10 minutes before the drivers' meeting. He turned 65 in said session. So at this point, who do you feel are the drivers to watch here tonight here, Greg?
Well, right now, that qualifying lap is telling me you got to watch Chris White in the 83. He had an incredible run off of turn number 4 there to get up on the pole. And he is another one who's looking for a bounce back after a disappointing night last week at Darlington. So he is looking for something here, and a pole will definitely help raise his spirits. There's just a couple of moments left, and I see no further action on track right now. So I think if anyone wanted to go out there, they would have had to been out there by now. So I would say probably with pretty good confidence that Chris White's going to get the pole here. But he's a guy you got to watch. You always got to watch the West family, Dan Jr. and Devin. But I got to say, BJ Tidrick impressed me with that qualifying lap. He is trying to build some momentum after that win at Darlington last week. So I got to keep an eye on that 72 car, who looks to be rolling off in the 6th position unless something drastic were to happen here in the final few seconds.
And that would be one of his best starting positions all season, mind you, by the way, for BJ Tidrick. A lot of the starting positions have been in the teens for him. Wesley, your quick thoughts before we go towards the grid.
Well, Chris White has had a really good, strong run here today at Dover in practice and qualifying. Of course, he put it on the pole. We're going to grab an interview with him here very shortly before we take the green. But I gotta hints and agree with Greg with what he talked about here and echo it. The driver of BJ Tidrick won Darlington. Nobody expected him to win. Came out of nowhere. We thought the race was going to get called after that server issue, and he went back and he won the thing. So I would say Tidrick is somebody to watch. Another driver that I would say to keep an eye on is that 35 car of Joshua Marcy. He qualifies in the 3rd position. I think he's a talent too. He had a really good run going for the last couple of weeks. So I think Marcy is going to be somebody to watch as well.
Drivers will now make their way towards the starting grid. Let's take a look at how they'll start tonight and go 10 at a time, shall we? It's Chris White on the pole tonight with a 22.610. Dan West Jr. starts in 2nd. And row number 2, it's Joshua Marcy and Kevin Smith with one of his best starting positions in 2020. He's in 4th. Devin West starts in 5th when BJ Tidrick with his first start all season in the single-digit mark. Jeff Stabnell 7th, Stephen Paulison in 8th, Autumn Bacher and Burke round out the top 10, Greg.
Garrett Huffines qualified 11th, but he is also loaded up on the trailer after a penalty for going out and qualifying before the drivers' meeting. So we'll see what happens there, as Stephen O'Hare will be up in the 12th position. Gridding in the 13th position is Dan Lowther in the number 63. We'll see what happens there, as I believe he'll move up to the 11th spot. Frank Harris alongside him for the time being. Ricky Bozer in the 42 and James Viney in the 333. A new position for him within the league, mind you, is starting 16th. More on that after the starting lineup. Bruce Lee Weaver will roll off 17th with Brett Johnson to his outside. Sean Brightsman, kind of a surprise, as he normally qualifies mid-pack, but he will qualify 19th with Roy Grande rounding out the top 20. Justin.
Last driver to put in a time, Daniel Masters, Scott Mann, first driver on visuals, Seth Frazier, Corey Walters, Scott Hutchinson, James Thurston, Dan Stuzzi, the other drivers of note. Huffines, Stuzzi, along with Thurston, currently not on the track. Wesley standing by with your pole sitter tonight in his Ford Mustang. It's Chris White with Wesley.
Chris White, it's Wesley, LSR TV. You got me?
I got you loud and clear.
Man, fast time, down a good lap. This number 83 SimStar Motorsports entry looks strong as we get ready to go at Dover. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, Dover's a fun track. I really like it. I've got a win here in the Xfinity Series back when we were running the Xfinity cars. We're looking to do that again here tonight, so looking to have some fun.
What is the strategy that you're going to look at doing here? Because this is going to be a very different race, obviously, than what we saw at Darlington for 150 laps tonight.
Sure is. It's going to be a long one, 150 laps. You just got to be patient. Just got to hit my marks. It's a slick track. We've got a concrete surface here tonight. And, we just got to be patient, like I said, and just have ourselves in position towards the end of this race to get that win.
Well, that's the driver for SimStar Motorsports. He'll lead the field to the green here in just a moment for the Munster Mile 150. That is Chris White in the 83. And guys, something else I want to throw out there that I didn't earlier. Look for start and restart issues due to the lack of grip, as well as loose cars after the first 10 or 15 laps, depending on the pace, because of running not on pavement but a concrete surface. Again, that'll be something that we should all keep an eye on. It's tires, not fuel, in this race tonight, I believe.
It's going to be a tricky one tonight, especially on this concrete surface. 24 degrees of banking, 9 degrees on the straights at this 1 mile racetrack. About to go underway and under green. In control of the field is Chris White. Dan West Jr. on the outside. Pace car is off as Barney the flagman waits up at the stand.
Green flag.
Green flag's out. We're underway for the Miles the Monster 150.
I'm keeping my eye on that 55, Justin, because I thought that he may have scraped the wall, scrubbing the tires on the backstretch there coming to green. Does not look like it's affecting him very much right now in the number 55 as he jumps out to the early lead. So maybe I was just seeing things, but I was convinced, that the 55 caught the wall, but he pushed big in turn number 3. Still going to come off and lead lap number 1, but good effort by Dan West Jr., but I'm keeping my eye on him for at least the first 5 laps. I'm a little worried right now.
Can't confirm. He does have a slight scrape on the right front fender of that race car. Not enough to flare it up, but just enough to affect the aerodynamics. But with that good start, he's trying a different line. This is the line that essentially many drivers used a lot with the high downforce package. Run up the banking in 3 and 4, especially diamond it down the corner and use it as a ramp on the exit. Chris White using the bottom line of the double apex method.
Yeah, good run there, 1 and 2 by Chris White to get right up on the back bumper after losing a little bit of ground off of 3 and 4. Let's see what happens this time. West Jr. taking that high line, but Chris White really seems to have a good entry speed in that number 80. West able to hold him off this time, but watch that 83 going to turn number 1. He carries so much speed in there, able to get a good run. Not as much as we saw the last time they went through there, but he is definitely showing Dan West Jr. he's got something, and that damage to the 55, just enough, like you said, to really mess with the aero. I gotta say, I'm nervous for that 55 car right now. Meanwhile, Joshua Marcy is beginning to close in on this battle after losing ground early. 35 beginning to close back in for third.
As soon as you said his name, Greg, he slammed the wall hard with the right front fender. Now he's got aerodynamic damage. The question's going to be, will West reel him in? Trouble behind him. Kevin Smith got loose off 2. Saved it in the 00. We stay green.
And he had the issues lap before in that same exact spot, Justin. So that's a little nervous if I'm the 00 trying to hang on to that thing. Behind him, Stephen Paulson, he is having bad connection issues in that 58 car. So that's got to be nerve-wracking if you're Carl Burke right behind him. But Kevin Smith got loose off of turn number 2, 2 laps in a row. I'd be a little nervous if I was in that 00 right now, trying to settle things down and really get going after he's looking for a bounce back. Had such a strong run at the early stages of Darlington last week before an accident took him out of contention right around the halfway point. So Kevin's another one of those guys looking for a bounce back. And Justin, he came onto the series a few weeks ago, and he has really shown a lot of speed in that 00 car. But again, like several other drivers we've seen this year, just hasn't had the racer's luck go his way this season. So he's looking for a breakout performance tonight in that 00.
Currently holding on to 6, a -2 from the drop of the green flag. Fastest car on the track though, is just up the road in the battle for third. Devin West, the son of Dan West Jr. with West Family Racing. Ran a 23 flat last time by. Several of the leaders were running in the 23.2s. Bottom of the track, this is for third. And Devin West takes away the top 3 spot.
We've seen this time and time again out of Devin West. He is so strong in both the Cup cars and in the trucks, and it's honestly hard to believe he hasn't broken through for that first Cup win yet. Could today be the day? We've said it a lot with Devin West. We'll see. We're 150 laps away from finding out. Now 141 laps, but long way to go. But Devin West once again looking strong early. But Justin, the battle for the lead is heating up. Chris White is not going away from that 50.
Has been able to clear on by several times. He's tried to poke down to the bottom. Now he's trying a little bit higher of a line to apex off. And remember, dirty air can be a factor at this track and make it difficult. One of the main differences at this track in the past year at Dover has been trying to find the line with the cleanest air possible to build up a run. White's not been able to do that yet.
No, he hasn't, just. He's been getting close to it, but every time he does, the 55 is able to close the door. And that, just like that, we're back to square one with that number 83, the pole sitter. Dan West Jr.'s led all 12 laps so far. Doesn't look like the aero damage is affecting him too much after just that little bit of a scrape on pace laps. So we will see how the 55 goes here on the long run. Looking good so far. Here coming to complete lap number 12, begin lap 13. But the fastest car on the track still is his son, who has gotten the third and is making moves up. It's the 5 of Devin West.
That's about 1.2 seconds of Dan West Jr. up at the front of the field. Ran a 1/10 of a second quicker than his dad, 2/10 quicker than Chris White. By the way, should note, BJ Tidrick elected to sacrifice his best starting position ever in this series this season. He elected to start from the pit lane. He's now in 23rd spot. Here's the problem. He's 18 seconds back and would be the first driver to lap down if there's a long green flag run potentially.
So BJ Tidrick starting from the pits, but he is closing in on Daniel Masters, who's making his first start in a long time in this series, to try to put a little bit of a buffer between himself and the leaders, as it looks like one driver already on pit road, Scott Hutchinson in the 91.
Was about to bring that up, just came down a few moments ago, and the 91 was at the back of the field and is just sitting in the car at the moment, so something going on with the 91 for the time being. But racing continues for Brett Johnson and company. That's side by side with Bruce Lee Weaver taking the Haas look today. And by the way, car who just followed through in that purple machine, that's Seth Frazier, your biggest mover, +10.
Frazier did not qualify, but three-time winner this season, trying to get up. He's already gotten 10 spots, but I've been talking with Frazier quite a bit over the last few months and years, and he says this is one of his least favorite tracks on the sim. He does not like coming to Dover, but it does not seem to be affecting him at all, as he is up 10 spots right now, as we do have Scott Hutchinson retiring from the race early in this one.
So trouble, unfortunately, for Hutchinson, the first DNF of the race. That would score him in 24th position for tonight's action. But still trying to close up the gap as Frazier and company to the rest of the positions. This is again the fight for Johnson. You can see just the difference in the line. And trouble in front of him. Two-car spin. Paulison tangled up. Reaver gets involved. Dan Lowther also involved as more cars crash in the entrance and exit at turn 4.
Frank Harris involved. I could not tell who the other one is. Believe that's Roy Grande in the 18. Yes, it is. He's involved as well. This happened up near around, I believe the 7th or 8th position was where this started off, Justin.
And nowhere for some of those drivers to go. Something must have happened with Lowther, and nowhere for Harris and company to go in the bottom of the track too. Also collecting that was Roy Grande, taking a new look tonight in the Ford Mustang. So a 5+ car incident brings us to our first caution flag at about lap 19 of this race.
And Justin, that's the problem with Dover. The track is so banked, not just in the turns, but the front straightaway banked as well. When an accident breaks out, all the action typically will slide down to the bottom. So if you're trying to split the gap, you got to make sure you time it right, or else you're caught up in it. And we saw that with Lowther sliding down in front of Grande and the hosts of others. But Wesley, they're coming to you because pit road is a very busy place here on lap 19.
Yeah, right you are there, Justin and Greg. Pit road, everyone's coming in from the leaders on back to the top 15 and more. Matter of fact, every car has hit the pit lane. Devin West, he's been really, really strong tonight for Team LSR TV. He took off in the truck race on Thursday at Darlington, as well as his son Devin, but they're in their pit stalls ready to go. Chris White will go to pit stall 1. West behind him at stall 2. Everyone else ready behind them as well, going to their pits. They're going to go and take on right side tires, which I find very, very unusual being 20 laps into this race when we talked about it though. And here comes the 55 West. He'll pull out just in front of Chris White. Devin West right behind him as they all exit pit road. And of course, Devin West, Dan West Jr. right now splitting Chris White as they make pit stops here. Dan West Jr. out first, a strong run after missing the race because of real racing last Thursday night in I think it was the town of Washington State is where they were. So good to see these drivers back and doing a good run. Some drivers caught up with some damage. Lowther's coming in, Tidrick's coming in, cars a lap down or more now coming in for service. But again, Justin, 20 laps in, come to pit road. Just my theory of things for the pits.
Indeed, and this was talked about a little bit in a briefing the drivers had for tonight that emphasized it being difficult to not overheat the tires and making it very loose 15 to 30 laps into a run. It came down to the amount of rubber built up the track that could have a significant impact on the conditions of the racing tonight. So in turn, it could be a tricky one and a treacherous one, Greg, based on what we've already seen in practice and what we've seen early on with so many drivers getting loose down the back especially.
It's going to be very interesting to watch this one unfold, Justin. Just 20 laps in, under caution, and everybody coming down pit road. Nobody electing to stay out and gamble. So we'll see if that becomes a trend for the course of the day, or if some drivers just erring on the side of caution and trying to gather themselves back up and reset after an interesting first 20 laps or so.
To correct myself a little bit from earlier on, 5 spots are available in the postseason. That's 12 drivers in the top 16 in the point standings. After 7 drops are factored in, make it to the postseason. Again, lots of drivers in a highest pressure situation where overall your best 19 finishes will be counted throughout the regular season. Knowing that in mind, how do you plan out how you try and run this campaign and make sure you don't have to rely on said points and try and get yourself in victory lane, Greg?
Try to get yourself in victory lane as soon as you possibly can so you don't have to worry about that. And that might be where we're starting to see these gambles come from, with the wins coming from Bruce Lee Weaver and BJ Tidrick. That might be the mentality there of, hey, I can steal a win at this point of the season and get myself into the postseason. Then I can really start playing around and try to focus on gaining some momentum towards that playoff push later on in the year. So I think that might be where some of these gambles are coming from. We see Sean Brightsman always do it. He's well locked in with 3 wins, I believe, on the season. You got BJ Tidrick, Bruce Weaver with wins. I believe Seth Frazier's win at Richmond came off a strategy call. So we've seen it over and over and over again to really just try to play it smart and outsmart your opponents here on the racetrack, and it seems to pay off more often than not as Weaver and Tidrick were able to steal those victories and lock themselves into the postseason. So I'm curious to see if maybe someone gets a little brave here tonight perhaps and tries to get one.
I'm curious too, and this is the type of race, mind you, we expect a bit of boldness. Have to wait and see. All drivers took 4 tires, mind you, in that last service, as they line up this time by for 1 to go. Dan West Jr., Chris White, Devin West, Joshua Marcy, Jeff Stabnell, Stephen O'Hare. One of the storylines, +6 already, was one of the quicker cars on the track before the caution. Kevin Smith, John Ottenbacher, Carl Burke, Brett Johnson round of the top 10. Also keep an eye, Greg, on Seth Frazier. We've talked about him a lot. He's already marched his way up into the top 12.
And remember, this is not a track that Seth Frazier is very fond of. He does not like coming to Dover. So to be up 12 positions in just over 20 laps at a track that is not one of your favorites, that's got to be impressive. And that's got to make him feel good, because he typically does not run well at this track. His words, not mine.
Again, we'll see how this start goes. Now, one thing to keep in mind, and drivers were able to figure this out with the higher downforce package, you had the option of starting either first or second gear. With the lower downforce, many drivers starting in second gear to try and limit the tire spin. Will anyone get it like it happened on the bottom line on the first restart? We're about to find out. Dan West Jr. takes the start early. Off and away we go.
Green flag, green flag.
Big start for Dan West Jr. Chris White did not get going in that number 83 car. That's going to allow Devin West to move up into the second position. Ooh, a little bit of a bobble there from Chris White trying to tuck in behind him. As White now tries a little bit of a crossover, he's going to go down to the bottom of Devin West and try to get a run into turn number 3. He will try to get the second spot back. Could have him clear off turn number 4. He does.
Able to clear by for second position. Top 5 single filed out. It's Carly West Jr., White, West, Marcy, Stabnell inside that top 5 grouping. But it's getting hot and heavy for some of the positions. About 8th on back, John Ottenbacher currently trying to fight side by side, now back single file. And oh, by the way, Seth Frazier's already through the P8.
Yeah, Seth Frazier is showing a lot of speed right now in the Paul Bear's funeral parlor Ford Mustang. I still chuckle every time I see that car. He's going after Kevin Smith right now for the 7th position. So Seth Frazier did not qualify, mind you, did not turn practice laps, did not qualify. The first laps he saw on the track today were when the green flag fell, and this is a very, very impressive showing out of him.
Absolutely, especially since, mind you, in normal iRacing official races, the last time these drivers would have been here was all the way back in about maybe April or May-ish. So at least a few weeks since the last time they would have had experience in official races. As well, on top of this as well, keep in mind that drivers like Sean Brightsman started deep in the field as well. Brightsman's already up to 13th position as well.
Yeah, Brightsman's been quietly making progress in the 46, and this is so typical of Sean Brightsman. Start around the middle of the pack and try to work your way up in the first half of the race, and then once you get around halfway, start thinking about strategy.
Dan Masters crashed on the front straightaway in the 03 machine. No caution flag, scraped the outside wall on the exit of turn 4, locked it up, and now pulls it off in the bottom of the racetrack. He is now into the pit lane.
First start in a long time for Daniel Masters in the 03, and not the way he wanted his return to the series to go, as he is now on the tow truck and back in the pits waiting for that to complete. So we agree, as Masters did a good job keeping it out of the way of everybody, but definitely not the return to the Northwest Racing Series he was looking for.
Masters is now the 2nd DNF of the night. That scores him provisionally in P number 23. Currently, Frank Harris, the only driver 1 lap down. Looking at some of the other groupings, Carl Burke currently running 12th spot. Dropping a little bit back in this run so far, but consistently running at the moment in the 24-1s, being very careful this stint.
Started 10th, running 12th right now. Carl Burke, remember, was in position to win at Kansas, and unfortunately it was a black flag for jumping the start, which ended his day. Since then, we've seen a new side out of Carl Burke that I haven't seen before. He is really showing some speed since that day in Kansas, and has been in position to win a couple of races, and kind of taking it easy right now here at Dover, riding in the 12th position, kind of just hanging out right now. But Burke is one of those guys who you got to keep an eye on.
Absolutely, as just consistently running in the back groove and starting to get himself a bit of a cushion, even footing between him, Brightsman, and Bruce Weaver. Up at the front, though, by the way, it's down to under 0.2 of a second. Chris White has several times tried to attack underneath Dan West Jr., but every time he's got right here, his car has gotten loose and hasn't been able to get up to the wall on the exit.
Right, trying to dive in once again, taking a little bit of a lower line. We've seen this all day out of these two. West Jr. may have caught the wall in the number 55. I'm not sure if he did or not, but this is going to set Chris White up. And remember, West caught the wall on pace laps, and he just caught the wall again. So now that little bit of a flare-up might be a little bit more trouble now.
Bit more crumpled up is that fender at this point. And now back to the higher line, trying to diamond it off, cuts off White. Again, Chris White able to check up. Start of lap 35 this time by, and that means it could get tricky. They're back to the 5s in this group. Just about everyone else behind them was quicker the previous lap by.
So definitely starting to heat up here at Dover as the rest of the field beginning to try to close in on West. Caution.
Back straightaway, Bruce Weaver spins around the 40 machine. Dan Lowther with his front clip destroyed. That might be the end of the race for him, as take a look on the replay. Weaver, contact with Burke, and then Lowther crashes into him after he locks up the brakes on the wall.
Remember, Lowther was up in that first caution as well, so definitely not the day he wanted. But boy, that's a tough break for Bruce Lee Weaver.
Some hard hits for some of these drivers tonight already, and about 5 laps short of this run compared to the first one of the race. And our look on the screens as Lowther again had no idea there was a car. Stop. Bam.
And Lowther, remember, was caught up in that first one, so he may have already had to use that fast repair, I believe.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, now this is going to be difficult for him to get back out there because now he's got to get these repaired manually.
Pit stops back underway. Bruce Lee Weaver, by the way, a DNF after the crash, so third DNF already on the night. We're not even 40 laps in. That's how much attrition could come into play here at Dover. The question's going to be who's going to win the race off pit road. This is a chance for Dan West Jr. and company to get repairs.
West Jr. in service right now, and Justin, one driver stayed out on this one. Scott Mann in the number 90 elected to stay out and lead a lap.
Get him some points as Wesley Owen standing by down the pit lane after service.
Yeah, the pit stop's just back underway again, finishing up with service. Dan West Jr. again going in first, coming out first, quite back behind him. Stab now looking really good. He's right now crawling into the top 6 before that caution come out. And joining us now is Dan Lowther on the number 63 entry. Dan, 2 tough breaks for you here in the first 40 laps of this event at Dover. Things have just not been good. It seems like Miles the Munster is definitely eating you alive here in the early going. What's your thoughts of the race so far?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that first one was all my fault. I caught the wall and then tried to recover it and get it recovered in time and lost it. And unfortunately, collect a couple other cars in it. And then this last time, I was just trying to get low and get through that wreck, and I caught it just enough and had to use my fast repair the first time. So now I'm out of fast repairs and stuck on pit lane for a while.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You did use up your fast repair, so can your car get back out there and continue the race, at least to try to salvage some for today's deal?
Yeah, I think so. You know, fortunately, I didn't hit him hard, but enough to where it caused, looks like about 12 minutes in damage here, maybe a little less, and I'll get back out there and just try to, you know, see what we can get out of the day.
So, Justin, Greg, that's the story on Dan Lowther again, involved in 2 accidents, not really of his doing, severe damage, reset already used up. Now he's going to have to wait for that repair to be able to come back out and be several laps down. He is mired, having a bad day at Dover.
A rough run indeed. Thank you very much, Wesley. By the way, should note Frank Harris electing to take the wave, it appears. This time by did not come down in pit. He was 1 lap down. One of the storylines to think about, too, we talked about this a little bit before today and alluded to it. A new community manager for the Northwest Racing Series, James Vining, taking that role in the Cat Car and looking to improve on several different aspects of Northwest Racing Series' promotions in the community.
Yeah, great to have James Vining step up and into that position, and that is something that's very exciting for the future of this series, Justin, because James Vining has been a staple of this series for many, many years. The cat on the hood of the 333, and you know he's going to do some great work. You know he loves the series. He's been involved in the series for so long, so many years. Great to have him step up into a position like this.
Everyone excited to have him on board. He said it in text. He was more than happy to help the league with a smiley face. Again, to reset, Dan West Jr. up at the front, Chris White, Devin West, Seth Frazier, Jeff Stabnell, the top 5, O'Hare, Marcy, Smith, Ottenbacher, and Brett Johnson rounding out the top 10. So some interesting runs so far. By the way, with that caution, Brightsman did have some damage picked up on the front nose in his Toyota Camry and elected to repair some, but that's why you may notice on the left side of your screen, he's back to P19.
Sean Brightsman back he started in the number 46 LSR TV Toyota, but Justin, that's nothing really to be concerned about with the 46 because we've seen it time and time again. He's able to time it out and take a gamble when he can and find himself up near the front at the end.
Update from Greg Rentz down to the pit lane, Greg. Update from Wesley, I should rather say. Wesley?
And the update is on Chris White for SimStar Motorsports Fast Qualifier here at Dover. The 83 currently sitting in the number 2 spot. Guys, no damage on the race car, but he is having netcode issues. Keeps blinking back and forth. He's hoping that that will be fixed very shortly where he can be able to stay and finish this thing because he really feels he's got a really good car. He's just kind of playing cat and mouse game right now with Dan West Jr. ready to pounce whenever it's the right time. It's still too early as we get ready for a restart.
Warming up his tires, following the outside line. Thank you very much, Wesley. And just told his fellow drivers as well that he's trying to troubleshoot in that regard. Or on the stable side, we'll have to wait and see. By the way, quietly throughout this, Frazier is up to 4th. Highest he's been on a start, Greg.
Unbelievable performance has Seth Frazier tonight. Plus 19 from the start of the race. And remember, Justin, he did not practice. He did not qualify. The first laps he had all day was lap number 1 of the race. And here he is running in the 4th position. Outstanding effort for the 32 of Frazier tonight as we come back to green.
Pace car is off. Dan West Jr. went around this mark last time, goes on it this time. Off and away, green flag is out. His son gets a good launch as well, side by side for second.
Devin West trying to get back inside of Chris White. Remember what happened on the last restart? Much the same this time as Devin West is able to get around Chris White. But remember, Chris was able to get the run off of turn 2 and begin the fight back. But this time he's got the 32 to contend with as well. Seth Frazier, Dan West Jr. still leading the way, but Chris White's going to tuck in 4th. West, Frazier, your top 3 now.
Dropping back that time by, and O'Hare has also made his way to the top 5, and oh man, that car has been quietly running up and looks very margarine-ish.
Yeah, definitely a new look for the 41 of Stephen O'Hare, and it looks good on track, and it looks very good on the scoring pylon, up 7 positions from 12th to 5th. Great job for Stephen O'Hare so far. Still looking for that first cup win of the season, but knows how to show some speed and has quite a few podiums in the series. Still looking for that first win this year, though.
For those wondering what the sponsor is, that is called specifically Peel's California Mandarins, which basically are sweet, juicy, and seedless bags of fruit snacks, to say the very least. Normally see him in one of the alcohol sponsorships. But up in front of him, Frazier has dived his way up to second spot. Now is within range to take the lead early.
Paul Bearer is on a rail tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Seth Frazier started 23rd up to 2nd, but some tough competition in front of him in Dan West Jr. as Frazier trying to click away. We're closing in on the 1/3 mark of this one, Justin. We're on lap 45 of 150. Lap 50 is that 33% mark, so we'll see how they go over these next few laps. But Seth Frazier took him 45 laps to get from 23rd to 2nd. Great performance out of him.
Faster than the leader that time by about nearly a full 10th and a half. Quick update, though, from Wesley involving the 41, who's in 5th.
Yeah, I just spoke with Stephen O'Hare's crew about the 41 car. They said, Wesley, the car's really loose on the restarts. It takes about 15 to 20 laps to finally get the car the way that we like it. But right now, we're still early in this thing, still over 100 laps to go. We're very comfortable with being right now in the 5th spot, taking his time, being patient here on the concrete at Dover. He'll be ready to make a move here in probably 3/4 of the race.
On the screen, by the way, Seth Frazier tried to take the race lead, couldn't get the pass done. Now back to single file. The top 4 covered up by 0.6 of a second, and what has been an exciting race so far.
Great job here by these top 4. West Jr., Frazier, West, and Chris White. Stephen O'Hare riding back there comfortably, just kind of hanging out, watching it all develop right now in the number 41. Couple of guys I'm keeping an eye on. We'll talk about that here in a second, as Seth Frazier got another run on Dan West Jr., and we'll see if he can get him this time. Frazier in the turn number 1, going to try to get to his door.
Was a 1/10 of a second quicker last time to the door. Can't get the run off the corner. West Jr. nearly smacked ball. Able to keep it straight back into turn 3, but has checked everybody up again.
Yeah, Devin West and Chris White were able to get right back up on Frazier as a result of that. So Dan West Jr. leading the way, Frazier 2nd. Devin West and Chris White trying to close the gap. Chris White taking a peek now to the outside, and here comes Stephen O'Hare. He has decided to throw his hat into the ring now. The top 5 are 0.8 of a second apart last time by.
Now separated by 0.9. They've already ran away from 6 on back by about 2 seconds inside. Devin West forces Frazier to check up this time. Move the West family racing drivers back to 1-2 again.
Frazier just tucks in behind Devin. Thought about a crossover, but thought of it. Now he tries it again off of turn number, but no. Oh, one car slid in the back. I think it was the 00 of Kevin Smith behind him. I think it was him who lost momentum. And yes, it was him and Josh Marcy riding in 6th and 7th right now. And Kevin Smith, that's not the first time he's gotten loose off of turn 2 tonight.
That's like the 3rd time we're running for the 00. Still has been able to hold on each and every time without hitting the inside wall. The top 5 train, though, is starting to see both the Wests run away a little bit, now separated by 4/10 away from Frazier. Frazier sliding up the track a bit as West bobbles. Evan West losing tons of momentum.
And this is going to allow Frazier and White to come back on the inside. Here comes the 32 of Seth Frazier, going to carry momentum. And not only did West slip up there off turn number 4, allowing Frazier to get momentum going down. Frazier had a great run into turn number 1 as is. He's going to be able to clear Devin West here through 3 and 4. Now the sun going away, the cloud cover coming back, so the track is going to gain a little bit of grip here, Justin. So this is going to be interesting to see how the drivers handle this one for the next few laps now that the cloud cover's back.
Track tempo already dropping across the track, mind you, with this concrete surface. And Greg, it's one of the most difficult surfaces, in fact, overall the most difficult surface, in my opinion, in oval racing to deal with, because when the track gets hot and has a lot of laps and has a lot of rubber, it's very difficult, especially since you run too hard and overheat those tires. It is not very easy with the concrete compared to the differences and how the asphalt may handle in that same scenario.
No, it's about as close to a dirt track as you can get in a cup car, the way you're slipping and sliding around on the hot concrete when it comes out. And NASCAR at this time hits it 4 times a year, and that's going to change. That's going to stay the same, but we're adding a new concrete track to the real-life NASCAR circuit next year, Justin. The Nashville Super Speedway coming to NASCAR Cup Series racing next year, which I think, hopefully, means we may see Nashville Super Speedway added to iRacing as well as the fairgrounds, which is coming soon.
And that was big news a few weeks ago, having what would be about a 1.5 mile circuit with concrete surfaces. Wesley, you can talk more on this point. It's a track that was home to many entertaining races. As O'Hare dives to the bottom of the racetrack and takes P4, it's going to be curious to see how the racing goes there over the next few years in 2021 onward.
Oh, yeah, no doubt about it. Having the privilege to go to Nashville Super Speedway before, beautiful 1.5 mile racetrack. I know that, or over a mile track. I know it's one of the steps that NASCAR is making into getting the Cup Series back to short track racing. And I do know that there is still negotiations with Fairgrounds Speedway Nashville to try to do something in the very near future. But I can tell you right now, the Music City, all they care about right now is soccer, soccer, soccer. And, of course, the racetrack, Fairgrounds Speedway Nashville, will go back to racing for the first time this 2020 season since the All-American 400 that I actually got the broadcast on MAV TV a couple of weeks ago. And that event will, of course, be this Saturday. So, everybody is waiting anxiously to see what happens with the Nashville Super Speedway. It is another concrete racetrack. Hopefully they put it on iRacing, and I believe that it's just one step closer into bringing back #more short tracks to NASCAR again.
Absolutely. By the way, 1 1/3 miles is the exact distance of Nashville Super Speedway in Lebanon, Tennessee. As this is all going on, the battle up towards the front is kind of stabilized. Frazier's not been able to close up to Dan West Jr. Chris White's tried a few pokes, not been able to do too much. O'Hare's also kind of stepped on in and been patient in this line as well. All while Joshua Marcy quietly has reeled in this entire group. Where did he come from? He was 2 seconds back 10 laps ago.
He's been watching these guys slice and dice for position for the last few laps and has slowly been focusing on his line and gotten himself back up there as we got a battle for third breaking out now. O'Hare to the inside of our pole sitter Chris White. He's going to get the spot, bring Devin West with him. And Justin, this battle between West and White is going to bring Josh Marcy right up into it. And I'm so impressed with Joshua Marcy here. Oh, he got the wall right as we were talking about him. There's the commentator's curse again. But Joshua Marcy, I've been so impressed with him in these 2 starts that he's made in the Cup Series.
By the way, Greg, that's 2 for 2, where as soon as you said Joshua Marcy, he smacked the wall.
Yeah, maybe I should just say the name Joshua Marcy for the rest of the day for his sake.
That time he doesn't hit it, so it's now 2 for 3.
All right, I like those odds a lot better.
Pressure now is on for second. Frazier has continued to slip and slide back. Been a bit quicker at times in the race leader, yes, but clips to the apron like right there have been starting to build up more and more mistakes as this run's progressed.
Slowly making just a couple mistakes here and there, and that's something you don't want to do here at Dover. Remember, he said time and time again he is not the biggest fan of this racetrack, but he's doing a very, very good job here today. Started 23rd, running second, but he's in trouble now because Stephen O'Hare is taking a peek to the inside. Devin West back up in the mix as well. And Stephen O'Hare, we've been so caught up in Frazier's charge to the front, we forget Stephen O'Hare has had a very similar charge as well.
Big drift by O'Hare that time, able to block West, Devin West specifically. And one thing to think about with these long green flag runs, this is the largest of the race, mind you. It can really wear down on you and have a lot of fatigue since it takes a lot of arm strength to turn this race car around this track and to wheel it to make sure you also don't snap around. Well, oh, by the way, making sure you have proper throttle control at the parts of the track where it dips down.
Justin, the ARCA series, when they were here in initial racing back in late April, early May, those races were 40 laps long, and I did 4 of them. And after every single one of them, I felt like I was in a wrestling match by the end of it. And I had a very, very frustrating night in one of those ARCA races that I try to forget ever happened, and I was pretty angry at myself and pretty much everything for a few days after it. But I still love coming to this racetrack, and it is just so much fun to wheel this thing around, and you get yourself a workout like you mentioned with the arms and how tired they are after the race. And these drivers no doubt are going to be worn out after this green flag run as the battle breaks out for second. O'Hare looks like he's going to have it off of turn 2.
Able to clear on by. That was a pass. Laps in the making. Frazier missed the bottom, and now he's stuck on the top. Devin West able to get on by. Frank Harris below them has just crashed into pit road.
And that's the second incident Frank Harris's night in the number 11. Remember, he had stayed out to take the wave around, and he is going to get it going. No caution as he was off the racing surface, but you have to imagine this is going to be a disaster for Frank Harris, as he was also caught up in that accident earlier today, so I believe he's another driver who had already used the fast repair.
See if we can take a quick look, and this is a good time to show this because if this race continues the way it is, drivers may have to enter the pits. There were a bunch of barrels there. You don't want to hit them like, say, that or Zach Novak and company in the eNASCAR race here.
So Harris, definitely not what he wanted to happen. Caution is out.
Kevin Smith finally loses control of the 00, and that car nearly snapped around 3 times for Smith. This time, snapped all the way from the bottom all the way into the fence. Take a look. Very hard hit to the front nose, and Kevin Smith bouncing off the walls as well in several different positions after this. We've talked about how loose it is on this track. That time the looseness finally caught up to him.
Just broke free off turn number 2, and boy, Roy Grande was right there in the mix of that. So Roy Grande getting through that, very good job by him to get through, but that's a tough break for Kevin Smith. We talked about how much speed he has shown in that 00 car over the last couple of weeks, and that's the second race in a row that something happens with him. But here we go, Wesley, they're coming to you. Pit road once again about to be very busy.
It's about to be busy for the 3rd time here in this race, and not even at the halfway mark yet. Is caution coming out yet again for that yellow. Here comes Chris White. He'll go back to pit stall 1. The game battle continues again between P1 and P2 on and off of pit road. You sometimes can use advantages on pit road to give you an advantage at the racetrack on track activity. But here comes Dan West Jr. right back out again. Look who's right behind him. Stephen O'Hare in 41. Good pit stop for him, as also Devin West elects at 3rd. Sean Brightsman, Frazier, I'm sorry, that was Frazier actually, all having really, really good pit stops. Man, I'm telling you, off and on the racetrack, it looks like it's again been the Dan West Jr. show.
Look at this.
Until right now, again, O'Hare fast off the pits.
Dan West Jr., I think, got caught for speeding. Chris White as well in the bottom of the racetrack.
Oh,
yes,
no.
Indeed. To the back of the field go 2 of the front runners.
That's exactly right.
Understanding,
guys, they got busted for speeding either on pit road, and they are suffering a penalty for it. And this is a tough break for these drivers. As again, as you said, Justin, they were some of the top contenders with the drop of this green flag. Now we're coming up on halfway in a few laps, and they have got to start all over again.
Yes, indeed, dropping all the way back to the teens at the very minimum. By the way, you've seen Dan Lowther come down the pit lane. He was able to get back out as the lucky dog with that caution. He's now 19 laps down, so the 63 has a shot to gain some points after the trouble for Frank Harris and a few others in this race.
So Lowther 19 laps down now, but Frank Harris on pit road. So Lowther going to try to make up some points. Currently being scored in the 21st position. So he's got a long second half of the race ahead of him, but he may be able to get some progress if something else were to happen between now and then.
Now here's how this is stacking up because of the speed penalties for the top two cars. The top two starters in this race. O'Hare and Devin West are now in the top two. Frazier, Stabnow, Marcy the top five. Oh, by the way, BJ Tidrick quietly has somehow gotten up to P6 again. Annenbacher, Breitzman, Vining, and Burke are in the top 10, but BJ Tidrick, mind you, was all the way back at the back of the field for much of this race after starting from the pit lane.
Showing he's got a lot of momentum in that number 72 right now after the win at Darlington last week. So BJ Tidrick trying to rally back. He's up to 6th after qualifying 6th, but missed the grid, started on pit road, and here he is back up in the top 10.
West Jr. as well as White coming down once again for more service. Now keep in mind, Dan West Jr. does have that right front damage. We talked about this, a chance to get his repairs, and Chris White taking this chance to top off on fuel at the very minimum as well. So various different strategies coming to play here. 2 to go signal expected this time, coming to 1 to go. Greg, what are your thoughts on how this race has progressed as we are 1 lap away or so from halfway?
I've been very impressed with the guys who started mid-pack and have been working their way to the front. Your guys like Frazier, your current leader, Stephen O'Hare. Been very impressed with how those guys have been able to handle it. Also, I've been impressed with the driver in the 35. I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to get any more luck on him, but he has done a great job sitting in the 5th position. BJ Tidrick climbing from the back of the pack. He's up into the 6th position. And how about Sean Breitzman? He fell back to the 19th position after coming through the field. He's back up in the top 10, Justin.
1 to go this time by halfway when the green flag flies. Update coming, by the way, on what happened with the 55. Wesley?
Yeah, basically, Dan West Jr. said, Wesley, I made an error. I didn't realize that I was going that fast exiting off of pit road. I was racing Chris White. I wanted to beat him because, you know, they've been racing each other back and forth on the races off pit road, and it cost him. Secondly, the reason why they came to pit road, they both had some minor damage on their race cars. They figured it was just best to come down to the pits after serving the penalty, go ahead and get things fixed and get ready to go back at it again because it's going to be furious coming back to the front.
Indeed, they're going to have to start from 18th and 19th position, tail end of the lead lap. But 75 laps down this time by 75 to go. Stephen O'Hare in control of the field for the first time tonight. It's not a West in control of the field.
There is a West on the front row, though. Devin West, the number 5, has a chance to try to get himself back up into position.
Green flag.
As we're getting set to go green here.
Off and away they go. O'Hare with a good start. Frazier able to take away second off the jump.
Frazier gets second position and clears Devin West. Stabnow in the number 24, able to get up into the 4th position. That's the highest he's been all day. Stephen O'Hare leading the first laps he's led in the Cup Series in quite some time as he comes off turn number 4, Justin.
Already Stabnow talking about potentially giving back positions here depending on how these runs fare out. But single file amongst the top competitors, first side by sides, were around the mid-pack. Now everyone's now into the marching line. The interesting thing is going to be how this plays out is how these drivers take this, because as we've seen, the tire wear has been fairly massive.
And we've seen drivers getting tires left and right here every single chance they get, as Frazier taking another peek to the inside of Stephen O'Hare trying to get up. O'Hare shuts the door once again as they come down the backstretch, and I'm just so impressed with what Seth Frazier's doing at a track that we've talked about it quite a few times. He doesn't like the way this track drives. He doesn't like the concrete surfaces, and here he is running in the 2nd position. Great job by him, but Stephen O'Hare doing a good job on defense, still looking for that first cup win of the season.
Really trying to buckle on down. O'Hare was quicker than Frazier last time by, and this has been the toughest part of the race so far. For many drivers, making the pass for the lead without the driver in front making a mistake. This time, Frazier forces O'Hare up high. O'Hare gives him the space. Seth Frazier from the back of the field to the front of it. He's now in the lead. There's 70 to go.
If he can get back, it'll be the first laps he led. I think O'Hare may have caught the wall just a hair. No pun intended, off of turn number 2. As they come through 3 and 4, Seth Frazier going to get to the line first here this time. Seth Frazier going to lead a lap. Boy, something happened to the 24 stab now because he lost a lot of momentum in turn number 3, and he fell right into the clutches of the 35, and he was able to fend him off, but something happened to stab now right here last time by.
He really backed it down here. We had contact, in fact, to the corner entry. Marcy trying to build up a run once again for this 5th spot. Just hasn't been able to build it up quite yet. By the way, the drivers who took that speeding penalty we mentioned last time, Chris White, Dan West Jr., they're 14th and 15th now on the racetrack. They've caught up to the big gaggle of cars in front.
They've done a great job slicing and dicing through the field. The 83 and the 55 both up back in the top 15 right now. So just because they got a penalty doesn't mean they're out of the race just yet. We know how much speed those two have, your front row on the night. Trying to get back up there a little bit past halfway as Chris White goes to the inside of Roy Grande for the 13th position. Bring Dan West Jr. with him.
Already several drivers trying to let each other go here up the racetrack, several taking advantage of Grande. And that moves Grande to the back part of the top 20 all the way to 17th position. It's getting hectic though, again with White and West Jr. through the field. Vining, Burke, and Mann, the next drivers up.
Scott Mann in the number 90. Remember, he sat out earlier for a lap to lead a lap, so that put him back at the tail end of the field. He has climbed up into the top 10.
Chris White contact with Vining. Still sliding around. Vining spins, collects the 53. Grande and several others smash in. Caution is out again at Dover.
Ricky Bozer involved. Man, oh man, what a heartbreak. And that's tough for Chris White in the 83 because he was making some serious headway through the field, and just like that, that's all out the window.
Grande was involved in an earlier incident. Chris White, nowhere to go. Vining slamming down, up and down the track. A rough situation for several of those drivers. And now bunches the field back up for more pit stops as everyone catches up to the pace car in turn 3. 64 laps to go this time by. And this could get really interesting. This was one of our shorter runs again. Looking like everyone making their way back over towards Leslie this time by in the pit lane.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we talk about during pre-race. Would we see 1 or 2 pit stops in the race sequence? No. This has been a fairly caution-filled event. I think we're working our 5th caution now, and we're just after halfway on lap 86 being complete. Everyone coming to pit road with the exception of, I believe, the number 8 car. As, again, pit stops are underway. There's the leader, 32. We mentioned O'Hare is about in the midsection of pit lane. Right behind him, the number 9 car was behind him, Walters. Burke's on pit road. So is Chris White. Brightman right there. You see Brightman clearing his pit stall in 46. And again, everyone making pit stops here as we're just working lap number 87. And for the most part, Chris White and Dan West Jr., they got a couple of spots up in position after being that pit speeding penalty. But this is going to mire them back down again on the scoring pylon. But he enters first, he exits first. Again, Seth Frazier got a great run going for him from the rear, leading here at Dover.
Talk about bold calls. 2 tires for Frazier and Ottenbacher. Everybody else on 4. We'll talk about that and the reasoning in just a moment. You're watching OSR TV, your home for sim racing for Northwest Cup Series action from Dover.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Remake.
Welcome back, everyone, to Dover. 62 laps to go this time by, and a interesting decision for Frazier and Ottenbacher, taking 2 on this stop on about a 14-lap run. Justin Prince, Greg Rentz, Wesley Altman with Will Duvall in the director's seat. At this point, Greg, what do you think's going through their minds to take the 2-tire strategy now at this point of the race?
I'm not sure, but I think they might be thinking, okay, we're in kind of a cautions mode right now. I think they were thinking they could afford to take 2 and get some track position. Myself, personally, I think it's a little bit too early for that. We've seen some runs that go short enough that you can make it work, but we've also seen some long green flag runs here, Justin. So I'm not sure if I would have gone 2 tires here just yet. I think I would have wanted 4. So interesting call by the 32 and the 89. We'll see how it all unfolds here, but definitely bold move by our front row for this restart.
Lucky duck, this caution was Frank Harris. He's 3 laps down, trying to take the wave around his Dan Lauder to get to in laps down, but with the light still on top of the pace car, Wesley, based on your experience, how do you feel this is going to work out? You talked about the difficulty in the restarts. With 4 tires we've seen, it's going to be even more difficult with 2.
Yeah, with 2 tires, I mean, obviously you've lost all of the momentum from the left side or the right side, whichever sides they put on. I'm thinking probably they put on right side tires on the left and the right rear, or on the, I'm sorry, the right front and the right rear is what I meant, none on the left side. But again, when these leaders that have taken on 4 tires and more catch them, they're going to be a sitting duck. But let's talk about a story here that is racing related, but also not racing related. You see Paul Barrett, you see the, oh yes, on the back of the number 432 of the leader, Seth Frazier. Well, here's a story. Yesterday, on the documentary about Mark Calloway, a.k.a. The Undertaker, after a 30-plus year career as a WWE superstar with a lot of success with the help of Paul Barrett on the car for Seth Frazier, he announced his retirement. He announced that the WrestleMania match that was back in April with AJ Styles was his final match. He is not lacing up the boots, not putting on the kick-ass gloves, if you say this, so to speak, anymore, and he is no longer going to be competing. Seth Frazier, talking with him personally, guys, is a big wrestling buff. Wrestling and wrestling go hand in hand. He loves wrestling. His biggest favorite man was Paul Barrett and The Undertaker. How special could it be the day after Mark Calloway announces his retirement that Seth Frazier, from the rear, against all odds, wins the race and does it driving a car in honor of The Undertaker? Oh, yes, that would be good.
Indeed, I think he'd have a smile on his face. We'll have to see how he does, though, on these 2 tires first. Again, 60 to go. This time by Ottenbacher on the top. Everyone else on 4. West, O'Hare, Stabnell, Marcy, Burke, Tidrick, Mann, and Walters. Pace car is off. Engines are revving. Green flag is out. We're back to racing.
Good restart by Seth Frazier in the 32, and we got to keep an eye on both him and the 89 to see how that 2-tire stop works for him. But Frazier had a great restart there, Justin. That's probably the best restart the race leaders had all day.
And something happened with Brightsman, by the way, in that situation. He had to duck down to the pit lane at the green flag. He is currently down the lane at the moment with some trouble. But the launch is able to get Frazier now a 6-car length advantage. Ottenbacher, though, has been swallowed up by several cars, already shuffled a 4th.
Yeah, Stephen O'Hare and Devin West are both able to get back around him, falling into the clutches of Marcy. Maybe if I only say his last name, it won't work, as he takes a peek to the bottom now of Ottenbacher. Jeff Stabnow there as well in the number 24. And meanwhile, Dan West Jr. has creeped back up into the top 10. He is up in the 9th position now trying to go to work on Corey Walters with last week's winner BJ Tidrick in front of him in the 7th position. So Dan West Jr. has already climbed his way back up into the top 10. Chris White in the 83 trying to make progress again. He's in the 16th position after having to go to the back once again after that last caution.
There's White right there. Had to use his fast repair. A bit of a checkup just up the road. Slide BJ Tidrick loose. Contact. Corey Walters hits him. Caution flag is out again with 56 to go this time by. Harris again gets hit.
Glass slipper shattered for BJ Tidrick right there. That is a hard hit to the outside wall for BJ Tidrick. And unfortunately for him, that run after the win at Darlington last week and such a strong run looks like that's coming to an end tonight.
It all really started from the exit of turn 4. If we can take a look where that car nearly slammed the wall, massive checkup, and then had a massive bobble and corner entry. Just nowhere to go if you're Corey Walters there with the massive amount of checkup there. And Harris, just terrible luck this season. Head on, nose first.
Another tough break for Harris. Remember, he had been struggling all day. That's his 3rd incident he's been caught up in tonight. A little bit of gamesmanship going on here with pit road, Justin. And I think a couple of cars may have accidentally caught the commitment line and may have had to come down pit road. They stayed out, but it looked to me like a couple of drivers had all 4 tires on the inside of that cone, as it looks like some of the cars near the back are coming to pit road.
Yeah, a couple drivers taking service. Chris White, Roy Grande, Corey Walters, Stephen Paulison, all down the pit lane, Wesley.
Oh, yeah, pit road's about to be a flurry of activity. Walter's car looking to check things out after damage on his machine. They're going to make repairs on that car. A couple of other cars on the pit lane include White, having to still pick up the pieces from that pit road speeding penalty. Paulison is in. He's had a mediocre day, if you will. Grande, who we're used to seeing in the Taco Bell colors, is in a black number 18 machine. Lowther with trouble. He's in the pits. And, of course, also the 72 car, winner at Darlington last week, is joining me right now on our in-car audio for LSR TV. Tidrick, what happened out there? I know you just told me your car is junked.
Yeah, I just made a mistake. It's been such tight racing, and you use so much throttle getting through these corners. I got a little bit free. I checked up. I thought I had it saved, and then the 9 car had nowhere to go and got in the back of me. It's 100% my fault. I take full responsibility for it. I was just pushing. I qualified really good, but I didn't want to get caught up in traffic early, and I felt it was best just to miss the grid and start in the back. And then we kind of wove through there, got all the way back up to 6th, and then, yeah, I mean, I think I had a good shot at it today, but ultimately I made a mistake.
For sure. It's got to be a disappointment after the great race you had, surprisingly, at Darlington last Monday night.
Yeah, actually, I was pumped after Darlington, and so I wanted to get a little extra practice here, and I was actually pretty good in practice, both yesterday's practice and today's practice. And I think I actually was on track for a pretty decent finish, but I'll get back out here in a minute and see if I can salvage something.
The highs and lows of even virtual iRacing. Miles the Munster tames another beast. BJ Tidrick with heavy damage here in the final 50 laps coming up at Dover, Justin.
Thank you very much, Wesley. Currently, that car still down the pit lane, 2 laps down at the moment. To reset your top 10, Frazier, O'Hare, West, Marcy, Ottenbacher, Stabnow, West Jr., Mann, Bozer, and Burke in that grouping. A couple drivers did use fast repairs that time by. Paulison electing to use his in this caution flag, and Walters able to use his to put in a brand new motor. But this is, again, starting to become the caution-precaution situation in this race, Greg. It's been difficult.
Yeah, it has been a very, very interesting race, and not honestly what we expected here at Dover, Justin, as we expected this race to have a couple of cautions here and there, but this has been very, very different than what we've expected. We have not expected this many cautions here in the first 2/3 of this race.
Once we caught up real quickly on the radio with Seth Frazier, currently the race leader on 2 tires, mind you.
BJ Frazier, or Seth Frazier, it's Wesley, LSR TV. You got me?
Yeah.
Man, 2 tires. What was the strategy in doing that? Your car's been so strong today from the rear to the front of the pack, now leading, with now coming up on lap 100.
I was just focused on track position at this point. I think there might be a big crash coming, and I want to be ahead of it.
think there's a big crash coming. Hey, listen, I was talking about the story me and you were talking about earlier, The Undertaker stepping away from the ring of wrestling. In reality, wrestling and racing always go hand in hand. You're driving a Paul Bearer car that obviously Paul Bearer was a big integral part while he was living in The Undertaker's career. How special would it be to win the race after The Undertaker, Mark Calloway, announced his retirement yesterday?
It'd be cool to do that. Hopefully we'll bring home victory lane.
We'll see what he can do, guys. He's currently leading the way in that all-bearer funeral parlor special. Oh, yes, number 32. We'll see what happens here at Dover. Still a lot of racing left to go as we're still almost 50 laps remaining at this event here, Justin.
Expecting to go one to go this time by, as the lights are out on top of the iRacing official pace car. Now, this is going to get intriguing once again. It was a good launch last time for Frazier. How do you think this is going to play out the second time of the two tires?
I don't know. We had such a strong restart out of that number 32, and we only got a couple of laps on those tires, the right sides, Justin. So that was a very, very short green flag run, easily our shortest one of the night. But do you think Frazier is going to be able to match what he did again? I'm not quite sold on that just yet, especially with another driver on 4 tires to his outside.
It's going to be very tricky, and remember, he had the feeling of an incident, as talked about with Leslie. Just a matter of, is he going to be it, or is it going to happen behind him? Into turn 3 for the restart this time, Greg.
Coming through to 4. Frazier in the lead with Stephen O'Hare second. Devin West, always a threat in the number 5, trying to get up there and get his first Cup win of the season and of his career. To back up that win at Homestead, here they come through the restart zone, back to the green flag, and wow, Seth Frazier able to match it once again. Good job by the 32.
Two restarts on 2 tires, 2 good launches. Devin West, though, on the bottom side, takes away second. And just about every single restart tonight, Greg, whoever started on the bottom in row 2 has immediately taken away second.
And I saw this in another race I broadcasted here at Dover a couple of months ago, Justin. The inside lane, row number 2, was really, really strong. And actually, the race-winning move came on a restart when the driver in third was able to get around the guy on the outside and was able to carry his momentum and get the lead. So we always got to keep our eyes on that third-place car.
O'Hare is now that third-place car, but a big run for West. Had the quickest lap out of everybody off the jump, 23.6 to the 23.7 of Frazier, but now has to deal with the dirty air, and as we've seen all day, if you try and make the move in the lead, it can be tricky, especially since it takes a good run off the corner and a good entrance on the bottom side of the very minimum. It can take several laps, even dozens of laps, to set up a pass.
But remember, West is on 4 tires, Frazier only on 2, so we're about to see if that does work out for Frazier or if the 4 tires are going to eventually get the better of him here. Inside of 50 to go, and here comes Devin West with a good charge off of turn number 2, going after Seth Frazier once again. Frazier continues to lead, but Devin West in second, not going away, as Stephen O'Hare kind of riding in the 3rd spot all by himself right now.
For comparison's sake, Onenbacher and his 2 tires already dropped to P9 at this point and have been letting people go on the bottom side. Big run for Devin West once again. Still can't get to the inside. His dad, meanwhile, he's making passes on the outside. Just made a move on Jeff Stabnell for P5 just now on the top line.
And Justin, I think that's the first move we've seen on the outside all day. Dan West Jr. showing that 55 is good inside and outside. And we saw that at the start of the race from him when he was leading the race. He was kind of running that higher line early on in this race. So no doubt Dan West Jr. feels comfortable with that 55 up top. And do you think the amount of laps he ran in that practice session, 60 plus, far and away the most laps in that practice session, do you think him getting laps up top made him feel a lot more comfortable putting that car on the high side?
It definitely looks like his happy place. Have to agree on that philosophy. It looks like that's how he's been wanting to do it, ramping it off the corners, rather than doing what most of the field has done with the double apex that we normally have seen with the lower downforce packages at this track. Back up at the front again. Devin West still trying to back up the corners, by the way, in the 5. Has not been able to get the run he's been looking for in Frazier. Frazier's been able to park it on corner exit the past few times.
doing a great job on defense, Seth Frazier, right now. Devin West is pulling every move he can out of it right now in the number 5, trying to get around that number 32. And Seth Frazier doing an outstanding job on 2 tires right now. We said we thought it was too early, but Frazier's showing us that, hey, maybe he knew something we didn't here, is now he's going to catch another cloud. So the grip's going to come back here at Miles the Monster.
So we trouble in the back of the field. Kevin Smith with more trouble. Brett Johnson also spins around. Back under caution after the 7 and the 00 tango off turn 2. Here it is on the replay, and Vining, my goodness, just missed it in the cat car.
Ooh, James Vining just barely squeaking through that.
Again, for the context, Johnson got the run, it looked like, Greg, after a clip of the apron for Smith. But Smith did the same thing we've seen 3 different times. Got loose on corner exit 2 at about the same time of the run. Problem was a car was there.
Yeah, unfortunate for Kevin Smith to have that happen to him, because again, he had such a strong run going. That 00, he has only made a few starts on the series this year, but I have been so impressed with him and what he's been able to accomplish here, Justin, because he has shown a lot of speed in that 00 car. The results haven't been there, but he is definitely showing that he has a lot of speed. Wesley looking like pit road's going to be a very busy place. That pit stop strategy for Frazier seems to have worked out as he catches another pit cycle.
Yeah, it did. As everybody is back on the pit lane again, Frazier took on 2 tires, and looks like he's just going to add another left side tires to take care of the tires that were worn out on the left side, to add to the tires that he had used up right now and doing the 2-tire run on the right side. So now he's back pulling away from everybody off of pit road. Everyone else now pulling out includes now Devin West, the 41 of O'Hare. Marcy's got a strong run, and Dan West Jr. with the good mix. And speaking of Dan West, let's talk about him real quickly. He is moving up through the field. Chris White has still fallen back on the bottom of the pylon after their speeding penalty we had before just around halfway. So again, don't count out Dan West Jr. just yet, gentlemen. I think he's going to be something to say in this race before it's over with. Johnson is coming onto the pit lane with damage on the number 7 car. We'll try to grab an interview with him here in just a moment.
With him ducking down the pit lane, Frazier, West, O'Hare, Marcy, and West Jr. are your top 5. Take a step aside for a moment. You're watching OSR TV, your home for sim racing.
They say everything is bigger. These guys down in Texas aren't messing around. This feature race will separate the boys from the men, the girls from the ladies. Can you handle racing 300 laps for $25,000? It's not as easy as you think. We don't stop to tow those too weak. We just push them out of the way. We don't run 20 laps. We run 300 each night. We don't care about what you and your boys have under the hood. Bring all you got. Don't be scared. Call my Cowboy Jack today to get signed up. It all goes down on October 2nd and 3rd in Mesquite, Texas, just outside of Dallas. Kenny Wallace is coming back this year to try again. You don't have excuses. Go to LoneStar600.com now.
Welcome back, everyone, to Dover as we get ready for the start of lap 112. Frazier, West, O'Hare, Marcy, West Jr., Mann, Bozer, Stabnow, Audenbacher, and Berger, your top 10. Justin Prince alongside Greg Rentz and Wesley Outland. For tonight's action, Will Duvall is currently in the director's seat. Wesley, you are standing by with Brett Johnson after being involved in that incident.
Oh, yeah, a hard hit for the number 7 entry of Brett Johnson. Brett, how's the number 7 machine, and what's your take of what happened that's mired you back to 15th now?
Yeah, I got underneath the 00 car there. I don't know. He'd hit the wall going into 3 there. I don't know if he came down on me or, but I was under him. I don't know if he got up high and clipped the wall there and then came down and got me. So.
How bad is your car? How badly damaged?
Well, I had a fast repair left, so we're as good as new right now. But
all right, well, that's the thoughts again of the driver of Brett Johnson, the number 7 car. Simply an accident, not of his doing, Justin and Greg, as you said, just simply a victim of circumstance, wrong place, wrong time. Does have that repair. We'll see what he can do right now. He's in the 15th position as we'll get ready to, I believe, come to 1 to go this time by.
Yes, indeed. Field starting to double up. Thank you very much, Wesley. An update on what's been going on for some of the drivers. Frank Harris and BJ Tidrick are officially DNFs. They are now 20 and 16 laps down, currently scored in those said positions for the time being. Everybody else, though, is currently on the lead lap for this restart, Greg. At this point, with under 40 to go, how do you play this?
At this point, it's run and gun the rest of the way. The time to wait is over. It is time to go. Frazier leading the way after doing a very good job on defense on 2 tires. But Justin, one guy we haven't talked about, Ricky Bozer in the number 42. Remember, he was caught up in an accident earlier, had to use the fast repair. He has quietly climbed his way back into the top 10, 7th position. I didn't even notice it until you were pointing out in the rundown there before Wesley caught up with Brett Johnson. Ricky Bozer, a fantastic recovery. Oh, Kevin Smith caught the wall on the backstretch, trying to catch up to the field, and he will collect Brightsman.
Unreal luck for Brightsman. He had just gotten back in the lead lap after having to come down on the last restart with trouble, and now has even more trouble. We're still going green this time by after what happened with Kevin Smith, who is now 18th. Frazier ready to launch meanwhile. Back on 4 fuel goods, and off and away he goes.
18 cars left on the track as we go back to green flag. They are all on the lead lap right now, and Frazier, trying to get the momentum going, was able to fend them off on 2 tires. Oh, but a little bit of a push out of the 32 going through turn 2 there, and that's going to allow Devin West to get a run in the 5.
Actually loses momentum down the back straightaway, and a bit of trouble technical-wise for O'Hare, currently dealing with some trouble. Keep an eye on how the rest of the drivers cycle through for the time being. Currently Devin West in second. O'Hare now has popped back in front of Dan West Jr. for the battle for 3rd position. Scott Mann, we haven't talked about Mann all night. He's quietly been having a very calm race in the manner of Mann. He's worked his way now into the top 5.
Remember, he stayed out on the first caution to lead a lap before pitting. That cycled him all the way back to the tail end of the field. He has slowly climbed his way back up into the top 5. Good performance out of Scott Mann tonight in the number 90, trying to get up there and get himself a podium finish. Boy, Chris White, he got loose off of number 2, and Justin, he may have got some help. I couldn't tell, but he may have gotten a little bit of help from Carl Burke there, but it was a great save by 83. Trouble behind him.
That's James Vining up into the wall. And the cat car this time gets some help. It's Brett Johnson. He came across the front nose of off of 4. And back to yellow flag racing we are. Let's take a look at the replay. Vining almost looked like Greg. He was trying that arc we were talking about. We've seen from Dan West Jr. a lot tonight. Problem is, a car stuffed the space.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times tonight. Drivers trying a little bit of a higher arc, and they come down to try to get the run off of turn number 4 or 2, and there's just a car that has just poked their nose in, and that's unfortunate. James Vining had such a strong run going, and unfortunately now he's going to have to go to the pits and get some repairs done to the 333. Such a strong run for him. He started 16th and had worked his way up near the top 5. Or top 10, sorry.
Everyone catching back up to the pace car once again as we ran a couple laps. Looking like drivers are thinking about it. No. Most drivers are electing not to pit this time by. Keep in mind the yellow cone is inside the safer barrier on the racetrack. But Wesley, I believe you caught up with the 333.
I have, and the stowaway cat is still locked up in the closet. So, and Manning is with us here. James Vining, Vining, your car not damaged is what you're saying. You said you really don't have a lot of damage after that incident with Johnson. Talk about it.
Yeah, I don't feel anything. I don't see anything, and I'm not really sure what happened. Maybe I came down on him, but I'm not sure.
Kind of got lucked up in there for sure. Your car looks really, really good. And I have to say, until we had this caution, for the most part, you have been improving the last couple of weeks.
Oh, thank you. Been trying.
Definitely. Well, that's your thoughts of James Vining. So again, Justin Gregg, car is not damaged. He lucked out on this one after contact with Johnson. He is still right now on the racetrack, and I don't think anybody is coming to pit road for the first time tonight.
Only a couple drivers who had damage before Grande, Smith, and Vining came down. By the way, Vining may want to take a look at the back of the car. A huge crushed back end to the right rear on the 333, as well as nose damage.
There you go. Well, we are seeing that now, and I think he's also seeing it himself, but I think he's going to quickly get that repaired. But to just have that type of damage, no, he is not going to repair it. He's not worried about it, guys. He says he's going to keep on trucking.
All right.
And I think the nose is probably the most interesting part of the way it looks, because for those for reference, had a cat cause an incident a few weeks ago in Northwest Racing Series competition, put the cat on the car a while ago, and now with that crushed in front nose, that cat looks a little more, what's the proper word?
Grumpy. It's the grumpy cat movement.
It is grumpy.
Remember
cat.
the grumpy cat? This is the grumpy cat for iRacing, thanks to James Vining.
What was something with that cat have to say?
Meow.
Meow. Meow meow. 30 to go this time by, and Frazier having the cat's meow overrun the second half of the race, by the way.
We are way too easily entertained up here in the LSR TV booth. 30 to go here, Justin, and it's going to be one heck of a finish. Lights on the pace car still on, but Seth Frazier has done a great job this second half of the race, but he has got some heavy competition behind him. Devin West, who is outside, and don't look now, but Dan West Jr. is back up to the third position after his penalty. Remember, West Jr. led almost the entire first half of this race.
And it's going to be interesting how this all fares out. Here's an interesting note with the technical issue we're referring to with O'Hare. He has lost a full lap.
And that's a driver who had led for a couple of laps and was running very, very solidly in the top 5. Was up contending for the lead and had a shot at the win, I would have said. And now connection issues have dropped him a lap down in the 18th position. That is a heartbreaker for Stephen O'Hare.
So he is now the only driver a lap down. So there is the chance if there's an LEO to get the wave around / lucky dog next time there is one. Still under 30 to go and expecting one to go this upcoming time by. Kevin Smith, by the way, getting damage repair as well after that situation in the 00. He and only Dan Lowther are down the pit lane at the moment. So now, Dan West Jr. is up in the front. We'll see how this all plays out. But what's going on, Wesley, with that 41?
There's been a drop internet issues for the driver of Stephen O'Hare. He said, man, it's so disappointing. Was at the top of the mountain doing really, really good 1 minute. Now all of a sudden the internet's dropping. We're lagging. We're having net code, kind of like what we saw with Chris White, but worse. And he's fallen a lap down, and he's still optimistic. He's the last car on the lead lap. Hopefully he gets a free pass. He can come back and be able to get back in this thing.
We'll see, as currently those issues are currently seen shuffling around the racetrack. Still at the back part of the field. One to go this time by to reset once more. It is Frazier, Devin West, Dan West Jr., Scott Mann, Ricky Bozer, Jeff Stabnow, Joshua Marcy, John Ottenbacher, Chris White, and Carl Burke inside the top 10. At this point, Greg, who's your pick to get the chance to meow in victory lane?
If I'm going to pick one to meow, it's going to be the double nickel, Dan West Jr. I've been so impressed with his charge through the field right now, and he has really shown that he has a lot of speed in that 55. We know he's got the speed to try to get up past his son and Seth Frazier. Question is, though, Wesley and Justin, can he do it?
Your thoughts, Wesley, quickly?
I'm going with Frazier. Rest in peace here at Dover. I'm going with Paul Bearer and Undertaker car. Seth Frazier wins this thing here today at Dover.
Still 28 to go to determine things. Pace car is off. Devin West on the outside. Frazier on the inside. Off and away goes the 32 once more. And Dan West Jr. off like a rocket on the bottom with them.
What a start for Dan West Jr. in the 55 to get up past his son, and here we go. Dan West Jr. versus Seth Frazier. This is a battle we've been wanting to see for a while, but we haven't gotten to see a whole lot because it seems like every time one of these drivers is fast, the other one is having some kind of problem. We haven't seen a race come down to these two in quite some time.
Black flag given to Corey Walters as there was a massive no-go for Chris White off the start. Went to the left of his car, and because he passed him at the start and finish line, that's a black flag for Walters. Mind you, you can't pass before the start and finish line or change lanes. So it was going to be a black flag potentially regardless in that situation. So Walters now losing a lap.
Walters, tough break for him, but boy, Jeff Stabnow came about an inch from hitting the inside wall with the driver's side door after trying to side draft with Joshua Marcy, and all of a sudden Stabnow was down close to the inside wall. Did a great job saving it. Oh, one car not going to be able to dodge it this time. It was a blue car. May have been Stephen O'Hare.
Yeah.
Yes, it was. Same exact spot that Stabnow had the issue with, and this time he was not able to keep it off the wall.
Smacked the inside wall down the back straightaway, and he's now ducking it down. So what was a strong day has turned into a nightmare for O'Hare. Rough one. Back straightaway, Brett Johnson nearly snapped loose and lost several positions from the top 10 back to now 12th and 13th.
Brett Johnson is having a quiet day. We didn't really talk about him because he was kind of hanging out near the back, but he has climbed himself into the top 10. Until that happened, he fell back to the 12th position now. He has to get around Chris White and Sean Bryson to get back into the top 10, but Brett Johnson, an up and down day for him in the number 7. We talked about the issues he had earlier, and now the number 7 trying to get back up. Oh, he's sliding in turn number 3. He had some connection issues, and he spun out trying to make the save, and he's going to duck on the pit road now.
He was getting loose, mind you, before that it seemed. I don't know if he knew where it was going. And now Johnson with significant damage, remember, had to come down with one of the incidents before. The Coca-Cola car now down the pit lane. 22 to go, by the way, as father and son fight for second.
And Seth Frazier is running away from these guys 1 second ahead now of the West family, but lap traffic ahead of the 32, and we haven't really had lap traffic come into play today, as it seems like every time it got close we caught a caution. So Seth Frazier gonna perhaps be the first driver to put a car down a lap naturally tonight, as it seems like every other time a car is gonna lap down, it's because they've been on pit road.
Yeah, the car in front, by the way, is Corey Walters, who had to come down for the black flag as mentioned. Is currently about 20 car lengths in front of the race leader in Frazier. Frazier has been the quickest car throughout this run, by the way, and is closing in on him and fairly rapidly with 20 to go.
Great effort here by Seth Frazier in the 32 to try to pull away from the West family. Corey Walters is the only driver who is one lap down, so he is in position for the lucky dog if we do catch a caution sometime in the next 20 laps, as that's how many laps remain here at Dover. And Seth Frazier, I just cannot speak enough of how good that this number 32 has done tonight. Seth Frazier having such a strong performance. Remember, did not practice, did not qualify. The first lap of the night he took was when they took the green flag. Started 23rd position, leading late in the race.
0.1 of a second a lap at the moment. He's one of the fastest cars. The fastest is Chris White at the moment, who's back in P8 for reference sake. So White, it's a question of what would have happened if he didn't have that penalty, mind you, because he would have potentially been up with Dan West Jr. and Cove in the battle for second still.
That's definitely a heartbreaker for Stephen O'Hare. Such a strong run for him. How about Ricky Bozer in the 42, up in the top 5 right now? Just got passed for the 4th position by Joshua Marcy. Remember, Bozer had to take the fast repair earlier today, and he has climbed back up into the top 5 now, trying to fend off Jeff Stabnow and get back 4th from Joshua Marcy. Ricky Bozer has had a great performance in that 42 tonight.
Best finish of the season, by the way, was Bristol. Also, one other top 5 coming at Kansas when he finished in 4th after some trouble in that 142-lap race. So would be potentially the 3rd top 5 of the season if he can hold on for the time being. The problem is, though, Stabnow is closing and has gained another 10th and has a major run again in that Ford.
Yeah, great run in the turn number 1 for Jeff Stabnow. Third night's Darlington winner put on a clinic in the Truck Series, and you knew he had to be building momentum off that tonight to try to shake off last week's trip to Darlington. in the Cup Series.
Trouble
because it was
up
a
the
bad
front of the
day.
road. And West Jr. spins around. Caution is out. Marcy hits him. Stout now hits him. Off into the air goes West Jr.
Oh, there goes my pick.
From second position, had a technical issue off of turn 4, and his own son turned him.
What I would not give to be in the West Family Racing TeamSpeak channel right now. Man, oh man, that's a tough break for them. And Dan West Jr. had such a strong run going, led the first half of the race, got the pit road penalty, had to fall to the back and was up to second. And now we got ourselves another caution. And Justin, late in the going, do you pit here or not?
They've been on their tires for 27 laps, and we've seen how bad tire spin could get for some of these cars. This is now the trickiest call of the race. This may be the last time anyone comes down to the pit lane, and everyone's coming down.
I guarantee you the 46 car, Sean Brightsman, is going to take 2 tires here. I will bet you any amount. Sean Brightsman takes 2 tires here. Wesley, what you got?
Pit stop time here, and I believe this is going to be the money stop, people. We got Seth Frazier, I'm sorry. Great run going for him. Devin West is on pit road. Joshua Marcy. Bozer, we mentioned the 42 car. Best run he's had going in a race in probably a long while. Ottenbacher looks good. Burke is looking good. All these drivers coming in for tires and fuel, the money stop, and you've already got Seth Frazier down and away. The pallbearer car looking to bring this to the checkered flag and have the rest of the field rest in peace here at Dover. Another driver that I believe is out of the race is going to be Dan West Jr. Dan, what's your take of what happened in 55 after a pendulum effect of sorts today for you at Dover this afternoon?
Oh, we just locked up. Internet issues or something. I just, my screen locked up, and next thing I know, I was in the air. So, kind of a bummer. That would have been a fun race. I hope I wasn't holding up Devin too much, but I think I'm just going to X out of this deal. And him and I are both on the same internet, so I don't want to mess up his race, so I'm going to back out, and hopefully he ends up with a good run.
Well, I know you were having a really good run at the beginning. You got busted with a speeding penalty off pit road at the same time, you and Chris White, and then you came back through the field. Your car was really strong, having a chance to win this race.
Yeah, I felt like we had a pretty good piece. I just got to get the pit road stuff figured out. I don't know why. I just I tend to take a good run and throw it away sometimes. It's kind of frustrating.
That's the thoughts, gentlemen, of Dan West Jr., part of Team LSR TV, to respect his son and let Devin have a shot at the victory. Daddy Dan is going to jump off the server here and call it a night after a wild, crazy crash here with under 12 laps to go at Dover.
Thank you very much. As O'Hare, Johnson, and West Jr. now confirmed DNFs in this scenario. By the way, just as that was going on, you caught it, Greg. Brightsman, 2 tires.
He's done this before, and it's worked out for him. Sean Brightsman, we've seen this out of him time and time again. Justin, do you think it's going to work? I think he might have just got himself in really good position here.
It's the biggest split tried of this, mind you, of the day, though, Greg, and one of the longer runs. About 27 total laps, green and caution flag laps, were put on that set. Wesley, I believe you're on the radio with the 46 and his thoughts.
Sean Brightsman, Wesley, LSR TV, you got me?
Gotcha.
2 tires after everybody else took 4. What's the strategy here, man?
We're going to go get this checkered flag, and if we don't, we're going to put some cars on some records.
So do you feel like the 2-tire strategy with under 10 laps to go is something that you could be comfortable with being able to hold the pack off with?
Yeah, I think so. I think John took 2 tires earlier, and he seemed to do decent. The big thing is just trying to figure out what it's going to do in turn 1 when I dive it off in there. So hopefully it sticks.
Now, you said, and I quote, I'm either going to win this thing or it's going to be a wrecker for everyone else. So obviously Katie barred the door here at Dover. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I know some of those guys have resets, so they'll be fine. But I'm pretty sure I'll end on the record if I don't get the checker.
Well, guys, I think it's about to be interesting here. Miles the Munster, we're going to see if Sean can tame him as we get ready for the final 10 laps.
Checkers or records. You got to love it, Justin.
This is going to get wild, to say the very least, with that thought. And already he's trying to warm up those 2 tires he took. Going to restart with under 10 laps to go. Greg, your expectations on what we're about to see here with that philosophy?
I'm with Sean. Either he's going to win or there's going to be some cars on the tow truck. We're going to see which one happens here as we get set to take the green flag. I believe we're going to get the one to green this time by. And are you ready?
Oh, I'm ready. I think everyone's buckled up at this point and has their cars wrapped in bubble wrap and pillows at this point. Everyone's starting double file them up. Lights are out on top of the iRacing pace car. Brightsman, Frazier in row 1. West, Marcy row 2. Burke, Stepnow row 3. Bozer, White row 4. Mannon, Autumnbucker round out the top 5 rows. In total, 15 cars still running in the race, all of them on the lead lap. It could be anyone's race, to say the very least, Wesley.
I got 4 words. All bets are off.
Perfect phrasing for what we're about to see. It's about to get crazy, to say the very least, Greg.
Oh, I can't wait to see what happens here, Justin. 2 purple cars up on front. Sean Brightsman in the LSR TV Toyota. Seth Frazier in the Paul Bear's Funeral Parlor number 32 Ford Mustang. Here we go.
We'll see if the 2 tires can hold out and how this start goes. 9 laps to go. Brightsman stacking them up. Off in the gas, off and away. 9 to go from Dover.
He needed a good restart to try to get himself a little bit of cushion on those 2 tires, and he did just that. Into turn number 1, Sean Brightsman leading the way, but here comes the 4 tires of Seth Frazier. You're seeing it right there, the difference 4 tires can make, but with this aero package, catching's one thing, passing's another.
Frazier already within a couple car lengths for that battle for the race lead. 8 to go this time. Pushed up the track a touch. Devin West has already dropped back to 0.8 of a second behind the leader.
Devin West trying to catch back up. Remember, he was in that 3rd position, but unfortunately, Frazier had such a good restart. There's problems behind. Carl Burke around.
Caution is out. Grande's in it. Burke slams around. And Kevin Smith loses the front clip. And this is now getting better and better if you're in the Brightsman fan club.
And now you're going to take away a few more laps under caution. We might be getting close to green-white checkered territory here, Justin, because we're working lap 144 right now. Race is scheduled for 150 laps. We might see ourselves perhaps a natural green-white checkered here to start this off if this caution doesn't go quickly.
The cause of the caution flag, by the way, was contact between the 53 and the 42. Turn 2 exit. And when you try and diamond off the corner with a car below, that's what happens. And that, at the very least, means the end of the race. If you're Roy Grande, that's a DNF for him. And Kevin Smith, mind you, had already had significant damage repair in the last caution. This piles on to him for him, Wesley.
Yeah, a tough break there for the Jags entry of Kevin Smith, 00. I admire his tenacity and spirit to try to stay in this virtual event all day long here at Dover, but unfortunately I think it's all gone by the wayside. Car limping down pit road, looking like a modified, if you will, with just the sheet metals on the left and right side, and of course the spoiler on the back, but the entire front is totally caved in and tore off, and I don't think he has another quick repair to try to continue things here. But as you guys were saying, playing in favor for Sean Brightsman for the same LSR TV 46, I think you're correct on this because he's only got 2 tires, and with the caution he is saving. Cooling the tires off. The tires are not being used up. They're not getting hot fast. He's saving that tire, saving them rubbers for, of course, this shootout here that we could see coming up. So again, this gives an opportunity for this battle of Toyota and Ford, the purple cars, and it's going to make it even more hard for Seth Frazier to try to get around Brightsman after letting these tires cool.
Coming to 5 to go this time by, and to quickly touch upon the purple cars. In terms of the color purple, it is the most enthusiastic I see for race fans, and especially sim racing fans, whenever they have or see a purple car on the track. Greg.
I actually run a purple Chevy Monte Carlo in the 1987 cars, the Monte Carlo and the Thunderbird that came out. I actually run a white and purple Chevy Monte Carlo, so I know exactly what you mean, Justin.
Purple cars, the trend of 2020's early times. As Brightsman trying to warm up the tires a little bit more. Again, Frazier West, Mark C. Stabnow, White, Bozer, Mann, Onenbacher, Paulson still on the track. Vining still in 11th, Corey Walters in 12th. And now in total about 13, 14 cars on the track. Wesley, you're standing by.
Yeah, I've got Carl Burke here. Carl, man, such a performance you had going for you. I was rooting for you like an underdog story. Got tangled up in that accident here with under 5 to go. What's your take of what happened?
Well, I was trying real hard not to let Bozer by, and he got me coming out of the turn.
Just a tough battle there, and badly damages your car, my friend.
I just took my fast repair, so I'm good for this final few laps.
Fast repair ready for the few laps. He'll be in the 14th position, but I got to tell you guys, that's the thoughts of Carl Burke in 53. Week after week, truck or cup car, he is improving, getting better and better and better. Another driver that he mentioned was Ricky Bozer. This driver has struggled for many, many weeks on the Northwestern Cup Series. He has a good run going for him. It had contact, though, with Burke. Right now, Bozer is in the 7th position. But again, I still think it's going to be the battle of the purple cars, Brightsman, Frazier. And here's something to think about, like taking candy from a baby on Halloween, and not even on Halloween here in June, first week of summer. If Brightsman and Frazier hook up, they start tangling, battling for position, Dan West Jr.'s son, Devin West, could be the man to spoil this whole party.
And remember, Devin West still looking for his first win in the Cup Series. Thank you very much, Wesley. And it indeed is looking towards the trend of a natural green-white checkered. We are not within that DWC window quite yet. What are the odds, in your opinion, Greg, that we go to that mark?
Well, it's going to be close. I think we're going to see the lights go out on the pace car this time by, and when we restart, it'll be lap 149 or 150, which would mean natural green-white checkered. And I'm with Wesley. I'm keeping a close eye on that number 5 of Devin West, because we have seen it time and time again throughout the course of the day that inside row number 2 is just as strong on the restart as the race leader. So Devin West, he could be in a good position here if something happens to the 32 on the initial restart. Remember, he's on 4 tires. Brightsman's on 2. That 5 car might be sitting pretty here.
Hey, Greg, and I would say this too. I wouldn't count out Marcy or Stabnow. They're in the top 5. I think it's going to get crazy here these last 2 laps.
Oh yeah, it's going to be wild.
The question more so was, do we get to the white flag with the potential craziness we're about to see?
Oh, that remains to be seen. I'll let you know when we get to the line.
Good way of putting it.
No comment.
Better way of putting it. But again, to reset, 14 cars still on the track. Kevin Smith, the last of them without a front nose, so it could be to anyone. Brightsman looking to nail another start on 2 tires. Did it very well the last time.
Pressure is on in the 46. It will be in his hands as they come off turn number 4. Ford Mustang pace car ducking off. Justin, first attempt.
Natural green-white checkered. Brightsman through the gears. Green flag is out.
Green flag.
2 laps to go from Dover. A good start for Brightsman. The question is, can he hold on for 2 miles?
Remember what Frazier was able to do to get the run on the first restart, and there it is. Once again, you see it coming down the backstretch. Seth Frazier trying to get a run on Brightsman, looking good here into turn number 3. 46 through 3 and 4. They're going to see the white flag if they get back to the line. Looks like they will. White flag, 1 more mile for Sean Brightsman.
Race is official. Brightsman with the gamble of the race, looking to hold on for a couple more sets of corners. Frazier right behind, punches up the racetrack. Final corners under the outline bridge. 1 last send for Frazier. Sean Brightsman's gonna do it. The gamble pays off. 2 tires, wins the race at Dover.
Single possession for most wins on the season. Sean Brightsman, his 4th win of the Cup Series this season. And Sean Brightsman, I think, is putting a stranglehold on his momentum come playoff time. Great move by Sean Brightsman. And Justin, how many times have we seen Sean Brightsman steal a podium position, let alone a win, but steal a podium position on a late race strategy call like that.
Wesley, we want to turn towards you because in all my time in iRacing, fixed or open, I've never seen anyone pull this off with 2 tires with the amount of tire spin that could happen in the starting restart zone.
I never would have thought that this was going to happen. I really felt that Brightsman was a sitting duck, but I will say this, that caution with under 10 laps to go, under 5 laps to go, I believe that really helped him. He cooled those tires, he saved them. And let's be honest, Team LSR, they've got some strong cars. Brightsman has always been a top contender here. 4th win of the season, and it is a surprising win here. We had craziness at Darlington last week as the celebration begins as Frazier crashes Brightsman on the pit road. I got to jump over pit wall to keep from getting run over. A celebration for Brightsman. A perfect strategy pays off. I didn't think it would happen. He proved me wrong.
We'll let Brightsman and company get their bearings. Results coming up and on with post-race coverage after these messages. You're watching OSR TV, your home for sim racing for the Northwest Cup Series.
We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized, I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything, hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers and stuff. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized, I mean, we'll do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything, hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers and stuff. So you just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink colors. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, t-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put put all that together in that package to make that minimum, requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana. We do custom T-shirts, racing. We'll do any shirt. We'll do schools, churches, fundraisers. We do a ton of event shirts, as you can see on our board here, all around our banner. Personalized. I mean, we do anything. It doesn't matter to us. We got the custom rugs. We use all the, top quality shirts, inks and everything. Hoodies, hats. We do embroidered hats, embroidered shirts. Just you can call us for anything. We do offer the bag and fold, to where you can receive them and they're already labeled and tagged and bagged, ready to give out to your customers and stuff. So you can just call us and just tell us, hey, this is what we're looking at doing, and if we're going to put the car on there, it is 125 quantity minimum. If it's without the car, it's 60 quantity minimum. That's strictly on the racing stuff. If it's a business or something, if you race on Texas shirts, it's a little bit differently. You can call us. It just depends on your quantity and ink color. Everything is hand drawn. I mean, everything. We don't Photoshop anything onto a shirt or anything like that. Everything that we go through, everything is drawn, and which is the reason for the art fees. We do have several graphic artists that draw for us, and they're really good. So what we do is on any package that you do, we can mix and match. We can do any colors. You can do purple, red, blue, green, and do the rest black. It doesn't matter to us. With your design on there, we can do hoodies. We can do hoodies, long sleeve shirts, T-shirts, tank tops. It doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost limitless what you can do, and you can put all that together in that package to make that minimum, requirements. They can call us 318-278-7191, or they can email us at bulletprooftees@yahoo.com, or they can go to the website bulletprooftees.com. We're based out of West Monroe, Louisiana.
Welcome back, everyone, to LSR TV for tonight's coverage of the Northwest Cup Series. LSR TV, your home for sim racing, is proud to bring you the Clan Wars post-race show, the official communication partner of LSR TV. Final race results see Sean Brightsman coming away with the victory on 2 tires, mind you, by 0.4 of a second over Seth Frazier. Devin West rounds out the top 3. They'll be standing by for post-race coverage. Jeff Stabnell finishing 4th. Chris White, Joshua Marcy, Ricky Bozer, Scott Mann, John Ottenbacher, and Stephen Paulison rounded up the top 10 tonight, Greg.
James Vining brings that home in 11th position tonight, with Corey Walters in 12th. Carl Burke in 13th, final car on the lead lap, and I believe the final car running at the end of the race was Kevin Smith in the 00, 14th position, 7 seconds back of Brightsman. Roy Grande rounds out the top 15, 8 laps down. He finishes 15th. Dan West Jr. in 16th after his late incident. Brett Johnson, Stephen O'Hare, BJ Tidrick, and Frank Harris round out the top 20.
21st position tonight goes to Dan Lowther, who had a rough one, 74 laps down. Bruce Lee Weaver in 22nd. Daniel Masters, Scott Hutchinson rounding out the drivers who made to the grid. Garrett Huffines did not start after having a strong performance in the real world of earlier today. James Thurston, 26th. Dan Stuzzi, 27th. Keep in mind, 25th, 26th, 27th counts as DNSs tonight. Justin Prince, Greg Rentz, Wesley Otley with you with Will Duvall in the director's seat for post-race coverage. We're standing by with your race winner. First off, it's Sean Brightsman. Sean, big victory today. How are you feeling?
Great to be back here in Victory Lane and to do it at Dover. I mean, I'm just ecstatic. I can't believe I held off those guys.
That gets to the point where you said you're either winning the race or you're taking the whole field with you. In the discussion we had before that, overall, what's going through your head knowing that it somehow paid off?
Well, I mean, it kind of comes down to the restart, and I figured if I can get a restart, I think I'll be okay, and if not, then it'll be the wreckers with Seth and Devin and hopefully Jeff, and I just can't believe it, really. I mean, that's really all that was going through my mind. I was trying to hold off Seth. I knew he had a fast piece tonight, and like I said, if the restart proved to be correct, I had a feeling I could do that.
Overall, how would you describe the handling of the car tonight? Because some people talked about how it was very loose in the corners. How did you feel it was?
Overall, it was good, but I never really pushed it until the end. So really, I've got maybe 3 hot laps, 4 hot laps on it. So I joined the server a little late and just kind of was trying to feel out the race car the whole race. So I was kind of just pacing myself, waiting for a long run. That way I could see where we'd be. But we didn't get that long run tonight. But it felt really good on 2 tires, actually, and I'm pretty happy with that choice.
And our track is coming up next week that is known for very high tire wear, the Brickyard. Your thoughts on Indianapolis Motor Speedway next week?
Excited, very excited. I love Indianapolis. Probably one of my top 5 tracks I love going to. I don't always run well there, but it's such a fun and challenging track, especially with a 1 line. And if you don't hit that line right, it's just tough. I love racing there with all the history and everything as well. So,
anyone you want to thank for being a part of your victory tonight?
Yeah, I got to thank LSR TV for sponsoring the Toyota Tundra here, or Toyota Camry. Got to thank the Northwest Racing Series, Central Welding Supply. We got our career 46th win, so we now match our number to our wins, and hopefully we can improve that next week.
Congratulations on the win. By the way, that puts you just 7 wins back of Mark Walls for the all-time wins list for the top of the standings in the Northwest Racing Series, and you now lead the series in the Cup Series for most victories. Congrats.
Thank you.
Sean Breitzman, your winner tonight in the 46, was deep in the field in the starting grid. Same could be said for Seth Frazier. Plus 21 at the end of the night. Greg, he's standing by with you.
Yeah, Seth Frazier, Greg Rentz, LSR TV. You got a copy?
Yep.
Hey, man, you arrived to the track pretty late there. You missed the driver's meeting and elected not to qualify. Why were you running so late there, first off?
I was up at my mom's house, and she lives about 25 minutes away from my house. So I actually walked in the door 2 minutes before we gridded, and I had Janisa sign me in and get me going. So I got a few, like 5 laps practice last night, but I didn't get many to practice today.
Well, the assist definitely going to Janisa, and of course looking forward to your guys' wedding coming up here in September. But Seth, talk about that run, man, because you had quite the run going for you tonight. Started 23rd, and you made it all the way up, led most of the second half of the race. Tell us about that charge to the front, because me and you have talked about this over the last year or so. You do not like this racetrack.
No, this is probably, honestly, probably my least favorite track this in Bristol to actually race on. I don't know what it is about it. I don't like the roller coaster effect, and on a long run, I didn't have nothing for a few of the guys out there. I probably had a 5th or 6th place car on a long run. Short run wise, I think we had the best car probably tonight, but it's fun, but I just don't like how on edge you are all the time. I like to be able to try to save some tire, and I can't do that when I'm on edge.
Well, Seth, tell us about the call, speaking of tires, to take 2 tires there midway through the race, because we were kind of scratching our heads there in the tower on that call, but it looked like you made that one work out. Tell us about what went into that decision.
Well, I was looking at my tire wear, and I wasn't wearing my left sides hardly at all. I was really abusing the right front, and I wanted came back to bite me. I don't know why, but I wanted to know what 2 tires would do, and I figured that was a good time as any. And it actually, with the clean air on the nose, it didn't hurt the car at all. It actually had better takeoff speed for about 2 or 3 laps, and it kind of, after about 10 laps, it started to bite me a little bit after 10 laps, so not too bad. So that last run, I didn't figure, with the short run speed, how fast the car was, I thought we'd be okay if 1 or 2 took 2 tires. I'd probably be able to work them still. And then the last guy I'd like to see ever take 2 tires and have to race against his Breitzman. So that dummy took 2 tires and kicked my butt. So.
Well, definitely a good run for you tonight. But now, not only do you got to turn your attention to Indianapolis, but you got some real-world racing coming up.
Yeah, we're going to be racing this weekend, and if you go to NCW Live, You'll be able to watch the race this weekend or on their Facebook page. We're racing basically a street stock at Wenatchee Valley Super Oval. So I'm pretty excited for that and get. There won't be any fans in the stands, but it'll be streamed live on television or on internet. So I'm pretty excited for that. And then Indy, I really enjoy racing Indy. I don't think I'm all that great there, but Indy is a fun track, so that'll be fun.
All right, well, Seth Frazier second tonight, and it's been a long one. You got anyone you want to thank?
I just Aunt Kathy out there for cheering me on. All you guys for watching, and thanks for putting on the show, guys.
All right, Seth Frazier, I'll see you this Saturday at the Wenatchee Valley Super Oval opener, and the rest of us will see you on Monday at the Brickyard.
That was Seth Frazier coming home in second with Greg Rentz. Standing by with the third-place finisher, Devin West, is Wesley Outland.
Well, Devin, a podium finish after taking off yourself to race off real racing last Thursday night with the Northwestern Truck Series event at Darlington. It was fun to get back to real racing with you and your dad, and good to see you as always on our LSR coverage. But you settled for third. What was the strategy you were looking to do if Frazier and Brightsman would have hooked up, tangled, crashed, wrecked, done whatever to try to pull the victory off? And are you happy with a third-place podium tonight?
I think you guys would be happy with the third-place podium on any night, especially tonight. I really feel like I had a lot of speed and just to kind of sit up front, mind my own business. Long run, I feel like it was all right. I could save tires decently well. I felt like if I had a long run, I'd have a chance for the short runs. I just knew right away that anything I can get without spinning myself out or losing any spots would be a good night. So, yeah, pretty happy with third.
What was your thoughts of what happened with you and your dad, where Dan West Jr. decided to bow out respectfully to you, son, and saying, I'm going to let him finish the race so I don't cause any more problems for him, and getting caught up in the wreck with him on the track?
Yeah, we usually have pretty good internet. I think we're having some internet issues there. I appreciate him backing out. Gave me the best chance I had to capitalize on the position I was in and any opportunity I had. So I appreciate that from him.
What is your thoughts as we get closer to going to Indianapolis next week? Obviously, the Brickyard should be an interesting race. We could see a snooze fest, or we could see an exciting, crazy caution flag fiesta. But also, as we move into the playoffs, what's your take of how Team LSR TV's doing as being one of the drivers on that group?
Yeah, for sure. Indy's gonna be interesting next week. I've never ran Indy in this server, so or just in general. Most of these tracks we go to each week are new to me. And as far as the playoffs go, I don't know where I'm at in points at the moment. I also don't have a win, so playoffs are starting to come around to crunch time look for me. But I'm pretty happy with how things are going so far in the season. I've had also had a lot of speed, and so I really enjoyed the opportunity to come running with all these fast and amazing guys. So yeah.
A podium finish, Justin and Greg for the number 5 entry. That is the driver, Devin West. The Team LSR TV entry will finish third here, and that'll wrap things up on the Clan War servers post-race wrap-up after a crazy race at Dover, where Miles the Munster has taken a lot of victims here this evening.
Thank you very much, Leslie. We'd also like to thank Sean Brightsman, Devin West, along with Seth Frazier for taking the time to speak with us during this post-race wrap-up. With that, your final thoughts first off, Wesley, after, as you said, a wild race.
Well, I think what I just said pretty much summed it up. That was going to be my closing thing, but I will add to it. We did not know what type of a race we saw, and that's the type of environment that you see here at Dover, virtual or reality. Sometimes you see the long green flag runs, you see the runaways, and then sometimes you see the races where it's green caution, green caution, green caution. We saw a couple of green flag runs, but for the most part, it was a caution-filled race. A lot more pit stops than I thought were going to be. Very unusual for that, but when it's all said and done, what a gamble. I don't think I've ever seen anybody like Sean Brightsman down the stretch, take 2 tires, hold off a charging hornet's nest coming at him for 4, and be able to pull off the victory. Oh, and I'll see you next week at the Brickyard.
Yes, indeed, and don't forget, it's going to be a wild one too, potentially there, Greg. Your thoughts on what to expect at Indy?
I'm excited to head to the Brickyard for the first time on this server, Justin. I have been looking forward to my first trip there. I thought it was going to be in May. Unfortunately, that wound up not happening, but I cannot wait to see what happens when these Cup cars take on the crown jewel of racing and one of the two iconic racing venues in the nation, Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I'm so excited for that trip next week.
Going to be an interesting race, to say the very least, for sure, especially with the type of racing we've seen with the high downforce package at Indianapolis. But with that, it's time to say goodbye for the night. For my fellow broadcasters, Wesley Outland, Greg Wentz, Alon Weather Director, and Will Duvall, I'm Justin Prince saying so long. We'll see you at Indianapolis next Monday night for Northwest Cup Series action. This has been LSR TV, your home for sim racing.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSR TV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of 52 Media LLC and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. LSR TV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.